Udiya neme na 40-40 udiya neme no bodunda so because le kwende nka na cross road leni nama le zieni le kan nama shina gari leni nama leni kan nama shina gari na road obi owere afugole mebe ya na eme ni before leni nama na gari
Hey, Tracy, welcome. Good morning, sis.
Beautiful hotel.
Drugs, now they come out, enter the community again. So, when I say as VDN, they come out for the community, now they come back again. These people came back with big data, enough army, about 2 trucks. Now they come out, enter the community again. So, they fought this one. I will show another one again just now. Mona see Percy house, Mona see Percy sweat. Mona see complete 2 flats.
Michael, welcome. Good morning.
Mona see Nigerians. Mona see this one has straight another 2 flats. This evening, no. They just they come up for here now. You see the way they take march here. You see the way they take 4 house. You be like, yeah, I don't know whether now here can be war front where they say made it. I don't know, insecurity everywhere. Mona see. They shop this house. See, they just shop one side of the house. Down. See, they leave one side. They shop one side. Just go this backyard. See, I wanna see people sweat. I wanna see person sweat. This house has been here for long because they are me. They first shop one side though, but no. This is painful. See, I wanna see houses. See, borehole don't even take here before, but because they are me, they made them not build. They leave everything. Person leave everything. Imagine now you can't send message to this person and say, "About come, they don't chop your ass into 2 flats. They don't shop one side, come out." See, right from here now, go like this. They bring them down. Sweat. Never build the house finish. People sweat. And this house like this now, the house don't wet where. So as they touch and they fall. Yeah.
Hey!
They touch and they fall because the house don't stay. But even
people there now when they go, they think I won't go build house for village.
And I just roofing level now. You know, sir? Roofing level.
People go foundation 50 years.
Roofing level. This one not your heart.
This is crazy, guys. This is crazy.
No ready. Mama.
Alright, so you have seen this very disturbing video. I watched this video, I was disturbed. But I want to tell you something today, Nigerians, and a lot of people might think I am crazy. But please listen to me with an open mind. You know the truth. It's nothing like Fulani headsmen. Take it from me. The Fulanis are innocent. Not the ones with the guns. The Fulanis are also innocent. I call them the government headsmen, the government terrorists. You will ask yourself that you see a lot of them in the bushes with guns. Now think about it. We did Nigeria like this now. As I talk to you now, some day for some bushes are across Nigeria, not across, within Nigeria, our boundaries. They did a practice with AK-47 rifles. Where did they get those guns from? They are in the bushes. How did those guns get to them? Who transports these guns? Who are the people that can carry guns in their cars and nobody will search them? It is only the soldier and the police and security agencies that can transport ammunitions around the country and nobody will search them. You never see where they do stop and search for military vehicle.
No.
No day now, you decrease. For military vehicle, you can't. Ask yourself a question. How much Fulani really gets? They say Fulani get money, Fulani get money. He get plenty cows. Fulani cow, he just day until he sell them, no money. How much is guns? How much does it cost to transport guns, to buy bullets on a regular? Whoever is buying this thing is getting a budget from somewhere that is bigger than the whole entire Fulani community ever. There's nothing like Fulani headsmen. They just fit the stereotype. And since because Nigeria, they've already sold that idea as Fulani headsmen. They sold it out there. People bought it. And people decide to stay with that name. Smarty, boom, Fulani headsmen. Boom, Fulani headsmen. Boom, Fulani headsmen. But guess what? It never stops. Why? Because it is not Fulani headsmen. It is the government headsmen parading themselves as Fulani headsmen. Ask yourself a question. How do they get those assault rifles with them, the AK-47s? Who transport it and give it to that large number of people? For how long would you sneak it through the lands that they will not catch you? They'll come and attack a community. The community will say, they are land grabbing. It is ethnic cleansing. There's something else. There's something else. Because make it make sense. I want to ask a question. No, they say land grabbing, Fulani are
Guys,
land grabbing.
please like,
Think
the
about
likes
it.
are very
Since
low.
when they don't say Fulani they land grab, I need somebody to show me one place where Fulani don't land grab, like literally land grab. Where
Exactly, Michael.
by the people
Yes.
they can't go there. They
Yes.
can't start to stay inside those communities in large numbers, so they don't land grab that particular area. You think about it. To the people in Jos, to the people in Benue, they don't buy people for Jos for the longest. They tag this Fulani headsmen and the indigenous attack, ethnic cleansing and their land grabbing, but they never grabbed any land. They never grabbed any lands. Ethnic cleansing. The Fulani also lost a lot. It sounds like very data is becoming crazy or obsessed with this topic, but it is what it is. I'm just telling you what I have investigated, and at the top of my head I can see. The Fulani men don't use the media. The Fulani men don't have a voice. Do you understand? They don't care about that lifestyle. Who do you think are the best people to use to sell this insurgency and this terrorism? Not them now. Why they know they use the Igbo headsmen? Why they know they use the Yoruba headsmen? The Hausas, a lot of them go to schools. They use the internet. Why are they not using Hausa headsmen? Why not the only people where we say they know they really do internet? They are not to the dance. Don't be say they know they, if they are 100, only like 2 will get phone where they do social media. And music, they go use the Indian music up and down. And just take small videos. You know, you think about it. They just pick the ones where we say they don't know anything about technology. They don't agree go school. They pick those ones. Say not them. I don't they go too deep. I go soon leave this matter for the government because these people they grace. They still they target very bad man. You know if you pass it to the video. But think about it today, I will tell you for free. There's nothing like Fulani headsmen anywhere. It is the government headsmen. Woo! Anyways, may God help us not to learn and learn the hard way. Don't play.
Like, we cannot accept them here now. They look dangerous. Are you not seeing their armor?
I'm going to the farm. I'll not be able to.
Like, why would you before going to?
Your Highness, we are looking for a place to rest.
Like, we cannot accept them here now. They look dangerous. Are you not seeing their armor?
How about madam? One Nigeria. See? One Nigeria. We are one Nigeria. Let them take the room at the extreme.
Daddy, bring car for me.
Jesus. Blood of Jesus. Immediately you left, they did this to your family and my family as well. Look at the lives of innocent people. Welcome, Your Excellency. I am the one who posted it on Facebook.
Mr. President, I am at High Water where there's a clash between the headers and the farmers.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Mr. Governor, this is not a farmer's headers clash. This is a calculated attack. This is
No, we already fixed surveillance cameras so that we don't lose count of the disease. Okay?
There's no cause for alarm.
Security, arrest. Mr. President, if reasonable arrests have been made, don't worry. I will build more schools.
Do dead people go to school?
This man from Belarus, na him schoolmate. They tag me. You don't see this. All of una way they tag me for that our president video where he talks say this man from Belarus, na him schoolmate. They tag me. Papa, you don't see this, huh? Papa, you don't see this. You don't see his classmate. Now wicked. Can't carry mic talk out. Papa, you don't see. He talks say you don't see his classmate. Yeah. Una can't talk out. If you talk say na his schoolmate, na his classmate, if you talk say na his classmate, na his classmate, case closed. He can't lie about it. If you talk say this is my classmate, then Muna take her like that. Everybody should take it like that. Now in classmates. Case closed. Now you go tell person who be classmates. This well of like that, the child say, so he don't get any classmate. Now he don't they show now one when they doubt him. Don't say the man too young. Una can dig for this country. No. Una don't go dig the man biography. Go dig come out, talk say the man when our president graduated, say the man did 15 years. It's possible. Don't forget say during the election, Festus Kayamo talk say great people during our president time, great people that time. See, they don't have to even go to school and write Wayek. See, great people study at home.
You don't have to. They reach and pass GC from home. Great men do.
So, as a great person, we be the people we they meet all in life now. Great. Jesus. So, you know, say as he a great person. So, as he go America, he go meet other great people. He align with great person. We there 15 years ago. Jesus. So that great them. I'm gonna take her like that. I'm gonna know they talk this thing. And if he be say like schoolmates say they are two no graduate the same time, but they're the same school they go.
He said university.
Now says he attended
University of Illinois, Chicago. Exactly, good.
And what is in the public domain is about President Tinubu attending Chicago
Correct.
State University.
Those are the points.
Okay, the man go the same different school. According to the other man biography, another school, Illinois University, with the Chicago. I'm sure Illinois. I'm not the same professor. Another school with the Chicago. Now the man attend. Our president saying he attend Chicago State University. So that God, I go make a very bad lawyer because you get some kind of things where I go hear from my clients. And me go shout from, you dey crazy.
Why you just suffer me? I want from start to defend this one. Our president for just keep quiet, just allow this schoolmate thing rest. Because nobody they even talk about them again. When I don't tell me make they talk this kind of thing. I know go put mouth for this kind of one. Like schoolmates, like classmates, they are two graduates. The one graduate at age of 15. Case close. Mamma mia.
Alright, so me I didn't want to talk about this video until I just saw now that the police PRO have reacted to this Angela Okoye's video. And to be very honest, to the police PRO, your hypocrisy is alarming. You understand? This is just big hypocrisy. Now, you reacted to this video because it is viral. Abi, Angela Okoye is saying, oh, police, they chase her, they help her protect her BBN Yash. It went viral, yes. I'll come to the video, but for you first, let me show you something. There's another video that went more viral than this Angela Okoye's video. That particular video has caused unrest in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians are scared. A lot of Nigerians want answers. But nobody ever spoke about it. But Angela Okoye will now go. You don't rush talk. Let me show you that video so that you know what I'm talking about. And we need answers in Nigeria. Since you have mouth to talk now for Angela Okoye own as a concise celebrity, let me show you. Alright, so this particular video where policemen were seen in the bush with terrorists. I call them terrorists because we don't know them in the police, and if they were policemen, they'll be wearing a uniform. Do you understand? They'll be wearing a uniform. A police van and an army truck is parked in the bush with a lot of men that are unknown with AK-47 in the bushes. This video went more viral than Angela Okoye's video. I never saw a press release from the first PRO to emphasize on the matter. Maybe you do, but I don't see him. Do you understand? But the way this Angela Okoye will now be everywhere, I never saw you to issue a press release to explain what happened in that video. In a country where, and this video went viral the same period when I went to Benue, when the whole massacre happened, when they burned some people alive. You know, understand? That's why this particular video went viral. Now another video went viral again that same period.
Idan ba gwamnati ta daure man wanda yake cikin daji ya ta'addanci ba Allah ubangiji ya tsine ma Allah dauki rayuwa ta a wurin nan. Bahilla ce saniya aka san shi da ita sai noma. Saniya ba ta haifa bindiga AK-47. Bahilla ce bai da makera da zai kera bindiga AK-47. Gwamnati ke turowa har muka samu. Mu kuma wallahi dalilin da ya sa billahi lazi shekara na 7 ina makarantar allo. Amma lokacin da na dawo na tsinci kaina a cikin wannan abun wallahi ina mamaki kullum ina tunanin rayuwata. Saboda mahaifana akalla a kasar dan banga da su.
Now in this other video, the Fulani man is saying cows don't give birth to guns. That any Fulani man that you see with an AK-47 is being sponsored by the government. Do Do you understand? So he's saying that Fulani men with guns are being sponsored by the government. Next thing, we are seeing a video of members of the Nigerian police and the military in the bushes with some unknown terrorists with guns, making the video that the Fulani man said make sense. It makes sense that it is possible that it's our Nigerian government that are giving out. It's not even possible. That's the only explanation to them having guns. Do you understand? So, PRO, this one is causing unrest. This is a national issue. Why are you not addressing it and telling us that this is the reason why we have seen the policemen that are supposed to secure us, the policemen that are supposed to be arresting terrorists, are seen in the bush, romancing them, frolicking with them, fraternizing with them holding AK-47s. This one will be a national issue. You do not address it. You are addressing one issue. Yes. A video of Angela Okorie and those policemen. I was disappointed in the policemen because how do I explain to the world that is the Nigerian police in our Nigerian police uniform holding an AK-47 running after a celebrity? I don't know what they are protecting, whether not the girl prepare Nyash, but she just do now and they protect. Maybe she insure him. So they said policemen that they protect Nyash. I don't know. It was really disappointing because I know for the fact that we have a lot of private security agencies that can protect any celebrity in the country. But again, will I blame the likes of Angela Okorie and the celebrities that carry police around? I wouldn't blame them. You know why? They learned all these things from the politicians. They learned it from the politicians and all these other big men. For this Nigeria like this, I don't see video when one rich man carry bag, give policeman, make policeman who you go to come money from inside. I don't see different politicians or video whether they give their policemen bag, me the who. This country like this, a lot of policemen, they use them, they go buy tomato and pepper for market for their wives. They don't turn policemen to house boys. This same country, policemen, they serve as boy for inside bush with Chinese men, all these Chinese people that they do mining. The same country. So you won't blame Angela Okorie. Where did she learn it from? If you people were not allowing policemen to do all these type of things before, the likes of Angela Okorie would not even see them to go and carry. Again, another thing is, the policeman no be pikin. If Angela Okorie say do and he say no go do, Angela Okorie no go force am. Do you understand? So I cannot even blame Angela Okorie at all because you people enable this. Now from an office that they can't take a police now. Nobody there they can't collect permission to carry police as escorts. So I don't go blame the likes of Angela Okorie. But Oga, can you talk about the one that concerns national issue that is causing unrest in Nigeria? I know a lot of Nigerians want answers to that particular video because I haven't been disturbed by that video. Next thing now, see, man tell you how funny this PRO and the office, all of them did for that place. I promise you, next thing you hear that they've invited Angela Okorie to come to Abuja. She should come and answer questions. If possible, they'll go detain her. They can do that. I will tell you that for free. Next thing, they can go and detain the lady. Next thing, they will go detain her now. Say they won't do investigation, they need to detain. That's. May not be as if PR will know the work. If it concerns celebrity, popular people, in people stand. That time you go no say the man, in Gola will just stand, boom, you go they react. Oh, may they not say police they work. I dare you to react to that video of those terrorists in the bush with policemen and the army men. I dare you, I triple dare you to talk about that video. If you fit, make my hands clap. Make my hands clap like Cardi B. Make it clap like Nicki Minaj. Make it clap if you react to that video. Make it clap. Okay, carry your hypocrisy and go and sit down in the bush, please. And just in case you are planning to invite Angela Okorie, you better let the woman go. Because I know now where we're now. The next format could be that. Peace and love, don't play. If you play, go online and you will learn the hard way. Rubbish.
Arewa don't start campaign for Peter Obi. They know they wait for now. They've already started their campaign.
Wannan yake kishin talakan ba kishin kansu ba. Wannan yake zai kawo ƙarshen matsalar tsaro a yankin na arewa gabaki da. Wannan yake taimakon al'umma ta ɓangaren gudunmawa da yake badawa ɓangara daban-daban ranka da ta ɓangara daban-daban yana taimakon al'umma ranka da fiye da tana. Ranka da Peter Obi shi ne da yake da gogewa wanda zai kawo ƙarshen ta'addanci a yankinmu na arewa. Ranka da Peter Obi shi ne yake da ilimi da gogewa na taimakon mutanen arewa. Ya tallafa arewa ya ƙaurace arewa ranka da daɗi. Ya ba da gudunmawa a arewa ɓangaren hidimomi na ɓangaren likitoci ranka da daɗi. Ya ba da gudunmawa ɓangaren jari na sana'o'i ranka da daɗi. Ya gina bohol a arewa. Ya ginda ya shirɗa wanda suka taimaki mutanen arewa ranka da daɗi. Bila adadin kullum man illa yin hafan. In muka ce za mu faɗi ranka da ana iya kwana wannan dalilin ne ita mutanen arewa suka ce zai fita Obi. Suka ce a zo da a yi kiran yi a arewa. Kowa ya ito yana fita Obi a arewa.
Arewa has started their campaign for Peter Obi. May we dey there for South, they play.
Say, I never see my video for long. I've been making video concerning House of Senate and National Assembly. What are you doing? You people not tell me say, I never see my video for long. I've been making video concerning the problem we're having in the Nigerian army. You people just keep quiet. A time shall come. A time shall come. You people don't go see secret. See, a time will come. Soldiers order them to rise for protest. We don't know what it means for order them to rise for a protest. We don't know what it means in this Nigeria. If order them rise for soldier rise for protest, just know that Nigeria is gone. Because if order them can be able to rise for protest for good 24 hours, but you, when you call yourself senator, you go see how terrorists go invade your house. And you will say a soldier guiding you. You will not give what belongs to soldier. You will go and give the benefit to officer. House of Senate, you are a disgrace. National Assembly, you are a disgrace. House of Rep, you are a disgrace. Because I have been seeing many senators Resignation concerning insecurity, concerning the welfare of soldiers. We are not going to talk. National Assembly, I have seen. We are not going to talk. Soldiers that is guiding this nation. See, let me tell you. Soldier is the upper hand security agency in Nigeria. They supersede airport. Airports are not doing any work. Navies are not doing any work. Now soldiers, they do the work. They are not doing any work. Because why? In the Navy, they can say what they need. And they can tell their commander they will not go there. Air Force, they can tell their commander they can't do this work. This work is not their work. But soldiers, army, they cannot say anything. Go, they will go. Even though death is there, they will go. But why are they not paying us well? Why are they not paying others well? Why our generals are eating our money? I hate generals with passion. I hate generals with everything. I need revolution. I need reform in the army. And I need reform in Armed Forces Act. I need reform in soldier salary. Why? A time shall come. We are going to take over this country. If I have the power, if I have people like me, if I can have 1,000 people like me, I will take over power in this country. Because you don't do much for now. Generals, you don't do much for now. Officers, you don't do much for now. You know, don't do much. I thought they look on since. And they waiting House of Assembly, House of Assembly will talk. Nothing. They don't talk anything. They just keep quiet. They say, who is this idiot? Because they are working with. See, let me tell you, without soldier there is no army. Without other there is no army. Officers and they can't because they are looking for riches. They can't fight. They can't do anything. Then why are you giving the favor of a soldier to officer to enrich himself and his our family? This is where I come. National Assembly will not define my trouble. House of Rep will not define my trouble. Senate will not define my trouble. I don't get your time. Presidency. Paula Ahmed Tinubu, you define my trouble. I never enter in an area. I go terrorize you. It's like you are incompetent to the nation. You are incompetent to the nation. Because now what do you do when they do all the whole president, that they continue from where that one stop. See, I got terrorized now. Now what do you know the Kanu and Samuel APC? That's why they look for Biafra. In this country, you people are not ready to save this country for insecurity. Maybe not tell us. Maybe not let us know. And now Biafra, it will let us stand. And if it stand, we go divide. I the one now, they find my trouble. I never talk about civil government. Now I'm terrorists are there after. But now you see I say we don't want to do anything. When I find my trouble, I go open my door.
Abeg open mouth, start the protest of soldier. Abeg organize am. We go abeg go open mouth.
Against the president and is committed to seeing him removed from office in 2027. How's that for an about face? But that's not all. Mr. Audu accuses President Tinubu of vengefulness, alleging that he prioritizes vengeance over collective progress. Mr. Audu says he was particularly irked by Mr. Tinubu's expressions of pleasure and delight over the crisis in the opposition parties, something he says further strengthened his resolve not to support the president's re-election bid. So how is it that a man who just 2 years ago had Mr. Tinubu's back is now promising to generate the kind of radioactive kryptonite that he hopes will destroy the president politically. What has brought about this dramatic loss of confidence? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former senior special assistant to the president, Aliyu Audu, who's the convener of the APC rebirth movement. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
I know you probably answered this question innumerable times, but bear with us, because this is the first time you're appearing on this program. Just remind us why you resigned, because resignation is quite a big step, isn't it?
Perhaps, I mean, it's a one part to declare my intention and make it known to God and to man that I'm no longer involved in this, and not even my silence can be misquoted for approval, you know. So I did what I have to do. I mean, in all sense of honesty and you know, sincerity, I couldn't remain in the government knowing I was at the point where I was convinced. It was a matter of conviction. I was convinced that it is not what I expect it to be, and it's definitely not what it should be. You know, I mean,
what was it about it that disappointed you?
The sheer display of unsportsmanliness. I mean, if for the lack of better word to use, if that exists, I mean, we need to create a society where we say it's okay to healthily compete, and it's okay to have a winner and to have those who don't win because they don't really lose. Nobody really loses. You know, the only man who loses is the man who doesn't try. You know, I mean, we need to make it normal that, you know, not winning is a part of winning. You don't win now. You work on winning next time.
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand how that applies to your resignation.
Exactly.
With focus on the government that you were part of.
Yeah, the government.
Because you're speaking in parables.
The government I'm part of. No, it's straightforward. You see, the most uncomfortable part of it that I've come to realize with my resignation is how we are very comfortable with pretending that our problem exists, or we acknowledge it exists. We have the energy to solve the problem, but rather expend that energy in avoiding the consequences of solving a problem. We want to build. Something is in our way. We could use the energy to go through it.
Exactly, Michael.
And know that thing is forever.
You're right about that.
It's a circle.
Yeah, but there must have been specific things that happened while you were there.
The FCT minister,
right? That's one of them.
Is in PDP, right? But he controls the APC in Rivers State and in FCT. Right. I am a card-carrying member of the APC in FCT. I ran for local government chairman in FCT in APC 2015. I did not win the primary ticket, but I was instrumental to our winning the local government. We were in opposition at the time. Abdullahi Adamu Candido was our candidate that won the primary election. You know, the political elite in party secretariat wanted to ruin that because they wanted someone else. They wanted to be the, you know, I was working in Accra at the time. I kept flying in. I was the youngest, or about it. Well, maybe one person was younger than me, the son of the late House of Rep member. You know, but I went around to all of the aspirants and I told them, you all wanted to win. You knew only one person was going to win. We had 32 people who indicated interest. 16 of us bought form. Of the 16 of us, we all knew one person was going to win. So if you really love the country and you love the party and the person who wins, you're going to work with him to deliver on what you want to deliver. I mean, basically, in our case, what has happened is we had the Wiki, who is a member of the PDP, destroying the PDP with the support of Mr. President, because the office of the minister of the FCT is not a political position, it's a state power. So if you give that state power to back someone to destroy opposition, let's remind ourselves that the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president today is thanks to the existence of opposition. He might have played a huge role in keeping opposition alive, and he has gotten the biggest reward from installing himself practically. That's okay. But what isn't okay is now destroying the opposition because you don't want rivalry. You can't sell me liberalized economy but monopolize politics. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You are against monopoly in economy, but you are promoting monopoly in politics. Economy is a subset of your politics.
But do you think that, and I mean, there are people who will see the point that you're making, but do you think that in the same way that you're criticizing Nyesom Wike, who is in the PDP, but is influential in the APC, do you think that your position, because you resigned and you've now taken sides against the president, is no longer tenable in the APC? Because, I mean, you're pointing fingers at Wike for being in another party and working with President Tinubu, but you are in the APC and working against President Tinubu. I mean, do you think that's a bit fresh?
No, it's not. Let's explain. I'm not working against.
Well, you've said many times that you are determined to ensure that he doesn't
be elected.
Yeah, he doesn't win the election. That's working against him.
No, I'm not working against him. That's his first step in building the kind of future I want to have for my generation and those behind us. You see, those in President Tinubu's generation, they set after them. They can do the rubbish they're doing. Yes, and I mean it. They can do the rubbish they're doing. They are comfortable with the mediocrity, but we are not. And the fact is, see, we are building. If he makes himself an obstacle in what we are building, he's over 70. He's not any more a shareholder or a stakeholder in this country than the rest of us. Let me tell you what former President Buhari told us in 2013 when we had to pay him a visit under the leadership of Barrister Ismail Ahmed. That was at the early stage of the formation of the APC. It had not even been formed formally. You know, we knew there was going to be an all, there was going to be a progressive, and, you know, with Barrister Ismail Ahmed leading the way, we had a movement called All Progressive Youth Forum. You know, most of us were people who came out of the occupied Nigeria in 2012. It wasn't because we didn't like Jonathan. It wasn't because we hated him. It was because we were desirous of a better nation and he wasn't doing the right thing. 85 or more of the people I grew up with are no longer in this country. They are all abroad. They are my mates. They are intelligent set of people. They are brilliant set of people.
And they are people who could be contributing to this country.
They were working I worked with MTN. I was a mid-level manager in MTN. They were at that level too. These are people who, they liquidated their business, sold their houses, sold their cars. At what? To be able to wash plates overseas? And we think it is okay that we have a set of people who want to sit on our yesterday, sit on our today, and steal our tomorrow. No, it's not okay. It's not.
Well, I'm impressed with
and let me say it clearly that the very essence of progressivism is contestation of ideas and thoughts and reasoning. Even within the party itself, my membership of the party was at my instance, not at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's like he cannot determine my membership of the APC. It's not up to him. It's not his call. What he could approve was my appointment, which he approved, over 2 months or nearly about that, after the nomination by the his former spokesperson, Ajuri. So I have given him back that. But what I do with my membership of the party is not up to him, because I started doing that. Part of what I did led to his emergence. When a set of people in the party brought in internal... You remember, I was here a couple of times. I mean, the APC rebellion started then, when we felt there were things not going right. I was a member of the committee. I was promised a land. It was taken because I refused to change my position. It is not a new... I walked away from a good paying job to do this. It is nothing new.
Right.
I'm not saying I am doing this. I'm saying we can all decide. First thing first, let's be very intentional about the country we want to build. Then be very intentional about what our challenges are. Then be very intentional about what we can do to fix it. Then start to do it.
And are there many more people like you within the APC?
As we speak, 80% of every card-carrying member who were responsible for his re-election, for his election. Let me tell you, the people who voted for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu were card-carrying members of the APC who didn't want to see APC lose. They were not people who were paid.
And now?
They are aggrieved. They are inside, but they are unhappy.
So
with
they're
the
working
staff.
from within against him.
They are just waiting to see the light. People waited. Let's remember that by 2014, about 24 governors had endorsed former President Jonathan, but there were a lot of people who were inside there waiting for something to happen. After them, there was a G7, and there was a G5 eventually. I mean, then we saw what happened. The fact that everybody is going one way, is the sign of desperation should tell us, because whoever is at the other side knows that not everything is right. You know, and it's even more an attack on democracy, because you have governors who are supposedly doing well in their domain that are not originally APC. What has an Akwa Ibom got changing loyalty? What has Delta got changing loyalty? What impact has APC ever made in Delta or Akwa Ibom?
Do you think that's all those defections are going to have a negative impact on the APC?
It's going to have a negative impact on our existence, on democracy, if we don't stop it now.
Right. But on the APC specifically,
oh yes,
we're getting all these new people.
Oh yes,
coming
I have spent 12 years as a member of the APC, and I'll probably like to give it a shot again to run for local government chairman in Amak. But Mekalangu, the current chairman who was in PDP, has been taken to the national chairman by Wike to direct the state chairman of the APC in Abuja to register him as a member of the APC, and he told the sitting local government chairman in Amak that if he was to be re-elected, he should switch to APC, because he, Wike, will ensure that there is no national secretary for the party to sign your nomination form before INEC, knowing that it's an essential part of your nomination. This is the same thing he's telling all the other governors. This is why they are running.
So it sounds like the APC is starting to implode.
Of course, because you are bringing someone to sit on my head. I mean, the queue grows from the tail. So you are growing the queue from the head.
And a lot of your focus is on, I mean, you're talking about the undermining of democratic values.
That's it.
And you're citing the relationship between Nyesom Wike and the president.
Unholy.
And I mean, just tell us a bit more about how you think that's at odds with democratic values.
If you want to run a government of national unity, it's institution. You can't build institution while you're destroying one. PDP is an institution whether we like it or not. APC is an institution. Labour Party is an institution. You cannot say we're going to build a Federal Republic of Nigeria is an institution. We need an institution that is bigger than individual, that is bigger than all of us.
Exactly.
I mean, Trump won from the outside. He tried to mess up the institution. He was thrown out. But he won again. That shows you the fairness and the stability of an institution. We should aim to build that, not idolize an individual. He might have been the best yesterday. Doesn't mean he has to be the best today. Even if he is, he doesn't have to be the best tomorrow. I mean, the difference between Lagos State, whom has been under the control of the president, and the next best state is so wide that we should be concerned at why others are not catching up. This is the reason why they are not catching up.
Right. So, I mean, you said you're working against the president.
I'm working against his re-election.
His re-election. So who are you going to work for in 2027?
The God will provide that at the point.
So you haven't made up your mind
Like
yet.
I've told every single one of them who, I mean, we should not be about who will be the next president. We should be about what we expect to see in the next president. Then we look at ourselves and see who is the best among. We don't have to look for the perfect person. We just need to look for the best among us that is going to be answerable to us. There's going to be a transparency tag in the next president. We've got to be able to assess you. I worked for president for nearly 2 years. I didn't have a sit down with him. I'm one of his spokesperson. But he sat with Davido, who insulted him a couple of weeks before then. He sat with that Gandollar, who didn't even come second in Lagos election. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And is there anything in the works for you with the opposition coalition, for example? I mean, are you talking to them?
The coalition is essential, but the real determinant of the future are the young people. We are taking our future. We are taking it. It's not by protest. It's not by not. We are organizing ourselves. It's silent, but it's massive.
Yeah, but you have to do it. I mean, if you're setting your sights on the presidency, for example, or whatever position it is, elected office, it has to come through a party.
We will adopt a party. We could even do it from the APC. It will be a good record for Mr. President,
right,
to say that he conducted a free, fair primary that he won or didn't win, or conducted oversaw a free and fair general election that he won or didn't win.
Well, do you expect him to do that?
Oh yeah, he's the Democrat.
Do you believe he's going to do that?
He should do that.
Did he do that in 2023? In your assessment?
It wasn't up to him. He was a contender.
Right.
He wasn't.
But now he's in the driver's
He's in it.
seat. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So he starts from given the independence that he asked for when he was in the opposition in INEC. He has to give them that, and he has to be not just. He has to wholeheartedly give them that, and majority of Nigerians need to believe that there is independence. Then he has to ensure that internal democracy is entrenched in the APC, starting with the removal of Ganduje, who he imposed.
Ganduje is the chairman of the APC.
Yes, that position for the past 2 years belonged to North Central, where I am from. Ganduje is from Northwest. The leadership of National Assembly could have gone round the 6th geopolitical zone. We have the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, we have the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, then you bring the Executive, the Vice, the President and the Vice. This top six position should have been fair for the 6th geopolitical zone. But the President is from Southwest, the Vice is from the Northeast, the Speaker, the Senate President is from the South-South, the Deputy is from Northwest, the Speaker is from Northwest. Again, nothing for North Central. Then the chairman that is North Central by right. You've taken it to give another Northwest person. That's not democracy. Anybody, whether a leader or a follower, who does not prioritize fairness, no matter how intelligent or how powerful it is, should not be in the driver's seat. It's simple as that. All of the injustice, all of the crimes, all of the Boko Haram, the IPOB, these are all symptoms of injustice. If the head of the country embodies injustice, there is nothing we will do. We won't have a right. There's going to be fairness. There's going to be. You are the leader. You are the one they look at first when they would want to look at the nation. How am I looking at you and I'm looking at the person who isn't only satisfied with defeating his opponent, but want to ensure he does not exist again? How does that inspire me as a kid? How am I supposed to think it's okay that the kid who I played football with, should do better so I can do better so we challenge again tomorrow?
Well, let me say to you that your conviction is inspiring, and I want to thank you very much indeed.
That means so much coming from you, Mr. Charles.
Aliyu Audu is the former senior special assistant to the president. He is also the convener of the APC Rebirth movement. Thank you.
Man, but you know what? I kind of have a feeling that the guy is really disappointed. I don't know about you guys. I could be wrong. But I think that from the guy's interview, right, he seemed like he's really, really disappointed. I think he probably had, that's what he sounds to me. Everybody has their own. I don't know what your takeaway was, but for me, I kind of sense some level of real disappointment from the guy. But then again, you never know, right? But this is how I feel. So anyway, moving on.
You see, and vote the right Christian for. Some people will say they are obedient. Some people will say they are alive. Some people will say they are Abba.
Okay, you don't trust him. That's fair. I mean, you can't trust anyone.
Please get your PVC and vote the right person. If you don't have it now, there is a place at Elegushi. They make PVC there. You can
Welcome, Gandhi. I don't know how to say your name. Indy, welcome.
You can get your PVC there. If you stay on the mainland, Yaba, you can get it. Go to any local government. You can get your PVC. It's not just about getting the PVC. It's about voting. It's about voting. It's your right, your civic right. Please. A lot of people will tell
Tell them, oh, tell them. What did you say? Repeat that.
Please, don't be calm. Come out and vote the right person. If Nigeria is a better place, I tell you, nobody will jack marry. Those that have jack married will come back. So please and please, I won't take much of your time. I just feel the need to emphasize on the importance. It is your duty. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your children. Please get your PVC and vote the right man. I am obedient. I am voting Peter Obi. I don't know about you. So please, let's join my beautiful hands together, please.
Okay.
So, okay, work has started. I'm glad to see these videos, to be honest with you. At least, apart from talking to people on the ground, I'm happy to see people are stepping up. Anyway,
Was it land that was allocated
you guys
or the
know
building?
that anywhere I see Barrister Darlington, Omo, Barrister Darlington na my celebrity, na my celebrity, oh. As everybody they get their celebrity, Barrister Darlington na celebrity to me. Hey, I want to get that man's autograph. Does anybody know Barrister Darlington? Does anybody know Barrister Darlington? I want his autograph. If like say I go make shirts specially, make the Barrister Darlington sign on top. Barrister Darlington is my man. I like the way the man they provoke. It sweet me. Wait until the guys visit tip and then you can make it. That's true. That's true. You're right. You're right, Tracy. Hey, not central. We technically should be central. Middle belt. Not mind them. Not mind them. Abio, we many for that table, Tracy. We love that. We love you, Barrister Darlington. We love you, Barrister Darlington. You know they say they rush Michael Jackson that time. That's so we'll say they rush Barrister Darlington. I beg, I like the man. I beg.
Was it land that was allocated or the building that was allocated to you in 2003? Which of them?
It's the land.
Good, the land. You were there for 15 years. They built on it. Esther, are you listening to me?
I'm listening to you.
You were present in this Lagos. They built on that land for 15 years. You didn't claim ownership. Then in 2025, you hurriedly went to court and got whatever judgment at the back of the occupant, who said he equally have what? C of O. So, who is that the owner of the land? Esther, who is the owner of the land? We are talking of 2 C of O here now. I don't believe that P2B is so desperate about land that you go and occupy somebody's land or his brother. I don't think so. There are many land the P2B can buy in Lagos and do whatever. You and I know that. But they have been on this paper for over 15 years. You didn't come to claim ownership. You don't show data. The same GRA Ikeja. Their property was demolished because of political reasons. It was when the husband came out to tell the history and story of that land that I said, what? Teju Osho. I think she's a member of the house. And that's the state assembly. Their house was equally demolished in this manner. Without any due process, nothing.
But the lawyer of this Mrs. Deborah Oluwa Lubon, I hope right.
Go ahead.
The lawyer is saying that Obi is politicizing the issue.
Well, please, leave that, please. Esther, please. Esther, if you are present, if you are alive, and your brother's property is being demolished, you mean you will be a good brother to stand akimbo and warn them and say, it does not concern me?
No, I even thought you would address the fact that this supposed lawyer, the person who owns this property, who is a co-owner of this property, because they said the brother is part of a shareholder who owns part of the company. You did not see this person appear in court. So who did you write something to?
Listen.
Rather than having to come this accusation.
I am coming. That's why they want to put people to be in bad light. And that's what I want to discredit here now.
It happened because throughout today there was people are calling him out, saying he wants to cause anarchy.
Out of ignorance. Listen, if P2B did not do what he did, they will see chastisements that look at his brother's property was demolished. He did not even bother. He did not even pay attention. Is it the person that want to rule Nigeria? If P2B cannot defend his brother's property, whose property can he defend, Esther? Tell me. No, answer me now. The people that are talking. I have told you, people, P2B doesn't have a spokesperson. Who will reply these people? How can such a thing happen and he's present and he knows that illegality has committed and you say he should not talk? What's the politicization here? What happened? Was it not an illegality on its own? The judge was deceived, Esther. No judge can give such a judgment. Without due process. Without all the parties that told me here.
Let me read this out. So we need to be in proper context so that nobody claims that anyone is being sentimental about this.
We are not. We are talking about those who said that.
I know, because we need to understand. The question is, who is the rightful owner of this property? So just here, if Mr. Peter Obi, according to the lawyer of this woman, if Mr. Peter Obi was genuinely interested in justice, he would have presented a balanced view of the situation instead of using social media as a sided narratives. That's what the lawyer of this woman is saying. And that's why I'm wondering, how come this lawyer is now speaking up? This lawyer that presented whatever to the supposed defendant. You did not see a Peter Obi, you did not see Peter Obi's brother.
Listen.
No, hold on, I'm coming. I know where I'm arriving at. He says he knows full well that the suit number of the case in which Mrs. Olorin Logwan's secure judgment is boldly displayed on the property. The party he is fronting for. So he's now alleging that Peter Obi is fronting for somebody.
Is Peter Obi a lawyer?
No, that is for the brother now, the said brother who has refused to, whose identity is hidden. Okay, so they said the party he is fronting for has already joined issues in courts, and that for the record, this is what he said. For the record, Mrs. Olori Logbon possesses a valid judgment, certificates of occupancy, and other official documents confirming her ownership of the property. Until a court says otherwise, the property has to use as she sees fit.
Hold on.
The disturbing pattern here is that Mr. Peter Obi's current online campaign is a continuation of earlier disobedience to court orders orchestrated by his associates. In other words, the associates were the ones that did not respect court orders. They did not appear in court. They did not respect the summon. They did not appear when they were supposed to appear to give a counter affidavit to what she presented in 2023 and 2024. That's what he's claiming. So that he should have gotten a better perspective from the person and the team of persons he is fronting for, rather than coming on social media to raise an alarm that he's politicizing the entire issue.
Esther, all those things that I'm hearing now is, by the way, when did the P2B got wind of what was going on? Was it not last Friday when they were demolishing the property?
Yes.
Why are you blaming him, for God's sake?
I'm not blaming him.
I'm not talking what you're reading here now.
The lawyer,
yes, he's trying to cast P2B in bad light deliberately. Are you telling me that P2B was aware and they did not enter?
They were taken unaware.
I just what I'm telling you now, but he said he served the lawyer. He said he served him. He didn't wait to hear what the court had to say. Are you getting what I'm saying? He said he served him. He served him, and they went on demolition spree. He didn't talk about that one. Esther, now listen. The CO4 of that property was gotten in February 2025 this year.
Yes.
So what you find? Listen. Between the time this property was allocated, till now, till the time it got here, that means there was no CO4.
Yes, there was no CO4.
That meanwhile, P2B's company or his brother company had been on that property for over 15 years. Esther, look at it too. That means the ownership, this one does not have even claim over that land until February 2025. When the CO4 was gotten, was P2B's company or his brother company not there?
Bam.
Did this woman make any move to tell the people there that look, this is what is going on? I'm the owner of this property. I got this CO4. Nothing was done, Esther. Look at the criminality involved here. How do you got a CO4 for a property that somebody is occupying and you didn't let him know and the governor signed it without you must go to Lance and Lauta to search for the status of that property before CO4 must be signed? What are you telling me? How can you serve a CO4 for a property that someone has occupied for over 15 years now? You got a CO4 just February this year. For a property somebody has been occupying for over 15 years. Esther, that means before all this time, this woman have no claim to that property. It's as simple as that. Because the highest title to any property is your CFO. Meanwhile, Peter B. Brothers Company have a CFO. The son represented it. Esther, how do you now justify this?
Two people are having
CFO property. The one that got it before and the one that got it now. Who is the real owner?
The one that got it before.
Oh my God!
Barrister, let me play the lawyer. Let me play the sounds.
You can see how my people pay for lack of knowledge.
Let me play the sounds.
Can you see now?
On Friday, just this last Friday, we were called upon that some people came here to levy execution on Friday. We never knew about the pendants of any suit at all.
Okay.
Nothing, nobody knew.
Okay.
The suit was filed against persons unknown. Unknown persons. Was the defendant in the case. What we did was to say, let us quickly rush to the registry to see the process filed, the process they relied upon to come to this place. We now got it only to discover that they came by way of what they call originating summons.
That means you don't need to come.
And they were even claiming possession, not title, not ownership of the property. Possession.
What's the implication of
the originating summons is that it's not an issue that ought to be controversial or contested.
Exactly.
And they were just claiming possession. Possession means they want to take over. But there was no claim for I am the owner, that is title.
Exactly.
It wasn't there.
Exactly.
We made copies of all those processes and walked all through Friday. On Monday, we filed our application, which was yesterday. We filed a motion, one, for joinder. Let us be joined in the case.
Yes.
As parties in the case. And we attached an affidavit where we annexed copies of material documents showing that we truly own the house.
Exactly.
We attached the deed of assignment, we attached the CFO, we attached every document to show that we genuinely own the house.
Good.
We also filed a separate application seeking to set aside that order, that order of the court, because the order was obtained without the court knowing that other persons own it. They just sued unknown persons. And I can assure you that if you go through the attached evidence of service, but I can assure you go through, you see that what they normally do is that they go behind there now, paste the court process, snap it, remove it.
Exactly.
And go back to the court.
Exactly.
As evidence that they have effected service.
Can you imagine?
We attacked all those things in our application seeking to set aside that judgment. We also filed an application setting aside further execution, which is what they're doing. Staying further execution, which is what they're doing. We also have a leg on injunction pending the hearing of the suit.
Yes.
We also have a prayer where we are saying, my Lord, convert this case to pleadings so that everybody will file their own side of the story. And the court will take a plenary session and hear us out.
Exactly, my brother.
That is where we are. We have not served them fully, but and the registry coming to serve them. But I expect that as a lawyer, if you know, like I did disclose to the man who came as their lawyer, that there is a pending application of this nature, which applications are of grievous nature. I think the proper thing to do, the circumstances, would have been to await the hearing of that application, then let the court rule on it one way or the other. That is where I expect my colleagues to take it to and say, oh, since they have come since, although he's entitled to say he's not been, he has not been served. But I'm also entitled to assume that having spoken to him,
Yes.
I'm the senior advocate of Nigeria. If I tell him that this is what is going on, he can wait. He should also indulge me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I would do that. And wait. It is, you are not running anywhere. It is the house. The house will not run. The house will not run to anywhere. Are you getting my point? Because the houses are fixed. I mean, the land. The houses are fixed to the land. You can't carry the land down. You can't carry anything anywhere. So what you do in the circumstance would have been simply to take time, take the wait for the process, take it, react to it, and show that you have a superior title. And then we'll take it from there.
Okay, sir.
I think.
All right, sir.
So why the rush? Why the hurry?
Oh my God.
And
You
that's
can't-
why there are political connotations to everything that happens.
Exactly. Esther, listen very well. The Lagos State government cannot tell me they are not aware because the CFO was signed this February. Why? Esther, let me tell you the processes to this CFO. Before you want to get title for your...
Wait, Tracy, what you talk? Eh? Gandollar don't resign. Hey, where, I bet where the news day? Omo, Tracy, where the news day? Oh, Tracy, drop the news, What? Gandollar don't resign? Oh my goodness. I bet drop the news, drop the information. May I go look for video? I beg.
There are processes. You first of all go for search at Alausa.
Okay.
Know the status of that property. When they presented this thing to the authority, to the authorities, and they discovered that somebody already have a title up to CFO. Why did the governor?
No, Osalobua is
All the
working.
land in Nigeria, in every state, is in the custody of the governor of a state.
I bet, sorry, may I let you know what
Even the federal government cannot take it.
Make I
Without
find the
telling the
information.
governor, please, we want to use this particular place. Can you give it to us? That is the process.
Osaloba will not they sleep nor slumber.
The governor has the power and authority over all the land. He's holding it in custody for the citizen of that state. Nobody can mess up with it without his knowledge. Nobody can sign CFO on his behalf except you authorize.
Landslide news. It's live.
That
Okay.
was gotten just this
Think I
February.
go-
And the
Sorry,
one that
this transmission will be
got to over 50
temporarily
years ago. Which one is more superior?
interrupted because I need to
Esther,
log in.
you mean somebody did not go to
Into
Alausa
my-
and search the status of that property before giving another CFO? Nigerians, I hope you are listening. That is where we are. When Peter was talking of lawlessness, this is it. Esther, this is it.
Sorry guys, temporary. Let me just sign in because it's gonna ask me for login stuff. So
And did the other one.
But the government may not. Well, this was 50
No, hold on,
years
you
ago.
didn't get me.
Okay.
I said you should have challenged the CFO of the company, the one that the company is holding. Let us know that. But because they cannot, that was why they went through the back door and obtained another one.
What if
Esther,
it
look
was,
at it.
No, Paris Darlington. What if the governor did not know? Obviously.
What
that-
are you telling me? I just told you the process
Wait,
is here. I don't, hold on, Esther, hold
Wait,
on.
okay.
You are not
it's
getting it.
all over.
Nobody can do that. I told you
32
how
minutes
land,
ago.
This is documents are
There's
obtained
an
in
article.
anywhere in-
What if he wasn't shown a record of that same property
Who
being
was not
owned?
shown?
Hey!
He should ask the commissioner for lands. Yes, he
Sorry,
should know.
guys.
Esther, he should know. Let me tell you what happened. Another scenario,
Hey.
let me tell you to know what is going on here.
Okay.
There was a land somebody bought some time ago with all the title documents at the baby. All of a sudden, because you have not developed it, all of a sudden,
Okay, let me go to the live show.
people working and all that.
All right, thank
The
you.
man went there and said, come on, this is my property. What is going on here? Area boys and police chased him out of the place. Almost beat
Send
him.
it to my WhatsApp,
The man
Mike.
got tired and
Abeg.
went to
I don't feel if I go
police.
interrupt
Police couldn't do
this
anything.
transmission.
He now hired a senior lawyer to intervene. Barrister Mondo Bani. I'm mentioning them so that you know that I'm not talking rubbish. The man who went
Oh,
and
TVC.
did everything, went
Okay,
to court
now
and
go
everything,
TVC.
yet no headway.
Okay,
He
now
now
go
went to
TVC.
Alausa and met the commissioner of land. The man told him that, look, because of the person involved in that land, our hands are tied. Mondo Bani is alive. I asked him, he said this thing on radio. I heard him. Esther, I heard him. And that is it. Esther, that is it. Let me tell you another one that is so annoying and so embarrassing. Because someone is telling us he doesn't know. Do you see this Magodo GRA here? Good. That place was acquired under the military many years ago for what? General Hospital. But because the military, stopped ruling over us and singing their martial music in the morning, maybe they abandoned the project. And then all of a sudden, they collected that land from the owner, so the owner gave it because it's for public use. Maybe because the head office of the capital of Nigeria shifted to Abuja. All of a sudden, somebody went there and was building. They built, even a reserve area, wetland, they built up to that place. So, the owners of the land now said, but this land, we were told it's for public general hospital. What happened? After they have built that place, all the posh houses they built there, they went to court to challenge those properties, to challenge the legality and the misuse of their property. The court looked at it and said they should go and take their land back, remove anything there. Esther, about 4 years ago or so, yes. Late in the night, the landlords carry bulldozers, everything, all their own talks. They went there to demolish it. Already they have served notice to all the tenants there. They came to demolish it. In the dead of the night, midnight, you know what happened? Governor Sanwo-Olu came. He woke up by that night with a commissioner of police in Lagos State. They want to stop them there. This is a private somebody's business. So he went to stop them. Of course, the matter died. The rest is history. You and I may not know how it ended. So why did the Governor Sanwo-Olu intervene in this matter? But in this one of P2B, he said that he should go to police. Quick police. Was it not the same police that stopped him from accessing that property when it was being demolished? Is it the same police that P2B will go and complain to? No, is it fair? No, answer me now. These are issues now. My question is, why should there be 2 CFO on a property? And the Sanwo-Olu signed it just recently. Why? You mean nobody did search to know the status of that property before you issue a CFO? Esther, just February, for a land and a company that have been there for over 15 years. Where was Deborah all this while? Where was she? Esther, if things were properly done, why the secrecy? No, the lawyer is saying that they didn't come. Did you inform them? No, did you inform them and they did not come? You know you don't have title to that property. You want to do it through the bank. That's why you do not inform them. There's no other way to explain it. That is why Sanwo-Olu must be involved. Let me tell you, Esther. You see why I'm calling on Sanwo-Olu? Because tomorrow, it may be his own property. They may demolish his own property. Hold on. From powers that are above him. Yes, now. And you will not utter a word. I don't give you examples here. Something you can verify, something that is here. This thing is not in the moon, it's in Lagos here, and it happened. I mentioned the names. So, if people can wake up and then deceive everybody, deceive the court, and start demolishing property, what does it tell you, Esther? You see why somebody should be involved here now. He should find out why one property should have 2 CFO in Lagos State. After all, he's the custodian of all this land now. Let him find out why a property should have 2 CFO. And let us know who is the original owner. And then let us know now who is the impostor here. It's as simple as that. He says P2B should go to police and report. What is that how to solve an issue for a business and you're asking for investors? You're asking for investors. You should have done the needful. Even call P2B, say, come. Esther, be sincere to yourself. If that property were to be owned by an APC stalwart, we don't do this in the deed. Answer that question for me.
Let's not confuse.
Oh, really? I should not have been.
No, because
really?
Since the
the
government has decided to investigate the matter.
After the damage has been done.
Obviously, if they say they were not aware, it had nothing to do with them. It's a civil matter. If not that P2B raised it up on social media and everybody's talking about it and their attention was drawn to it, they wouldn't have known. The government cannot be supervising all activities going on across all the properties across the states.
I am talking of those who are blaming P2B. What did they do wrong here? that he raised an alarm that illegality has been committed. Is that what they are calling sensationalism? You that went behind closed door. In fact, the NBA should ask that lawyer if this is the processing that they need to go through before they obtain judgment. That lawyer, they should NBA. In fact, the son should write to NBA and NJC about this matter, and they even including the judge. All of them should explain why they gave judgment of this nature in a matter where a property has a CO of O already. Let us go from there. Yes, they should. There are many ways to find out whether this man or woman or the other people there were properly served. There are many ways to find out. Esther, there are many ways to find out. Don't tell me that. There are many ways to look at how the lawyer is not blaming P2B. They're now neglecting all he did wrong. Because this is not professionalism at all. It's not. It's not. It's not. You must make sure that the other party are put on notice. What happened to that principle of law that the other party must be heard? What happened to it? What happened to it? Or is that one no longer relevant? Please, from February till now, is how many months? Nigerians, the lawyer said that the original document...
February till now is 5 months.
The original document was presented in court to listen. You got a CO4 for a property in February, and you got a judgment in what? In June on the same property. So how did you not serve the other party when you do not give the required notices? Esther, these people think they are clever. They are not. Seriously. The man is even indicting himself. When was it obtained? He did not even ask the woman, come, where were you all this while? All of a sudden, nobody is in that compound. You couldn't reach anybody. So, how come P2B now noticed what was going on when they came to demolish? You mean if they have gone there to serve any notice, they wouldn't have called P2B or the brother and say, look, we'll come to brought one paper here. Esther? No, they couldn't have done that, Abby. Are you serious? So, this matter is not, in fact, is not ending so soon. You must get to the root of this so that they don't make you look bad in Lagos State. I'm telling you, this is supposed to be a center of excellence. All this land grabbing by individuals is very wrong. Esther, completely wrong. What is going on here?
Hey, Gandollar, Ganduje. Hey, Omo. Let's go to YouTube. Biko. What? Landslide news. Landslide news. Here we go. Hey, Washiri. All our talking, crying, it has not been in vain. I don't want to give TVC my distance, so I don't go TVC. I don't want to give them the...
Were you recently injured in a car accident? If so, you need to stop now and immediately call an
The cloud is...
Michael, you know.
Welcome to News Inside Life. Philip, a twist and turn. Yeah. The APC
exactly.
Reportedly to have resigned from
Tracy, tell him.
He states health reasons, but we know that his tenure has been marred with a lot of controversies. From his base in Kano, there's been a restraint from a court that he should not be allowed to be there, and so many other things which we will discuss on this segment. Yeah. Please, what's your take?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a surprise, but not so much. For the fact that there is this strategizing going on for 2027, you do not expect everything to remain the same. essentially, Ganduje wasn't even the person that Asiwaju won election with in the first place. You understand? So, apart from issues of Gandollar, I remember the video, so it was a video. It wasn't like something we didn't see. And apart from that, and all that, there's also some, I won't call them gossip. Like, for example, the FCT area council election coming up. APC candidates will have this kind of reservation that the financial demand from the office of the national chairman was heavy on them. So why does it have to be money, issue of money? But though he cited health reasons, we can't rule that aside. We just hope he gets well. We hope whatever sickness it might be, that God will heal him. But putting them, the issues of APC at the front of it, I think they are re-strategizing, and it's beyond. It might be beyond that. Yes.
Philip, definitely, or as it looks, all is not well with APC at the moment, and where there are a lot of.
Sorry, guys. I didn't even know you were not seeing
You
it.
understand? North Central, North South, everywhere. There must always be a problem. Is it what is consuming Ganduje and making the APC to not to be well with it?
Certainly, yes, because take your mind back. Last week or thereabout, there was the meeting of the North-East of the APC, wherein Ganduje and the chairman of the North-East adopted Tinubu without the vice president, Shetima, and the reaction of the Borno State governor and other Shetima's lovers.
No, man, then I lie, they go lie now.
Back to the journey to Akwa Ibom, how the vice president, snubbed, the national chairman of the
My case.
he refused to shake his hand and all of that. Recently, is it 2 days ago?
Exactly, they almost did.
His supporter defected to the MPP back home. It shows clearly that all is not well with the APC. Don't forget, like I said, this is the present government has kickstart campaign, and it's all about 2027. And you know that a lot of influence into APC. They have to give room for other people who are coming in to be accommodated. Ganduje could just be one of the collateral damage that has happened to the APC. But if you haven't said that, it's also to note that, the president said it gives him pleasure to see the opposition party in disarray. And what we're seeing in APC, like people have always predicted that there will be implosion. I think this is the beginning of the implosion. Shetima not being, Unanuga said it is after Tinubu has secured his ticket for 2027 that he will name his running mate. Now, Shetima from the Northeast too is being put aside from being the national chairman. These are part of the things that we shaping the 2027 race. It shows clear that even though the opposition parties are deciding, like Senator Usman, and they said that the law of karma has catch up with the APC too. It shows that the disarray in the opposition party has also crept into the ruling party.
By default. Should we look at it from the perspective of the fact that the cock are coming to roast?
Yeah.
That there's a story we did before that a gang up from the north against this government. And there's a guy that spoke the other day and said 3 governors are financing the coalition.
3 northern governors.
APC northern governors. He said it, open, I think it was on prime time on our Rise News. He said 3 governors are financing the coalition, the coalition that is ganging up.
Yeah.
Do you think they are calling themselves back?
You see, I would realign myself with the expected disappointment that is going to come in APC. The disappointment is this re-strategizing that is consuming people like Ganduje is going to create a common interest between these people that will be disappointed and the coalition. Okay? And at the end of the day, I really do sympathize with the strategy as what you might be using at this time. One, the politics is being overheated unnecessarily. For nothing. So which is people decamping from PDP, who in themselves, they are still PDP. They are not APC. Then those in APC are probably giving way in some form. And let's not go too further with that of Shetima because they have not said they are not going to run with Shetima. But if you remember, the last time, there was this video that was being circulated where Shetima came down. Is it Parakot or where? Akwa Ibom. Yes. And Shetima he was hesitant to shake Ganduje's hand.
He wasn't even hesitant.
He didn't shake. Ended up not shaking Ganduje's hand. He kept holding Ababia. He kept talking with other people, and ended up not shaking with Ganduje. Now, maybe before then, he could be thinking Ganduje was probably being the APC chairman, probably piloting things that might not see him to be in the picture. But by now, they will become friends. Do you understand? So, no matter what plays around, movement of people in and out of APC is not going to create stability that Asiwaju need at this time. Okay, that implosion is coming too early. No matter how they look at it, head grants, that's fine. But I don't think the work of APC national chairman, when you are not in campaign season, is too much that they can't really handle. Ganduje was saw that time doesn't really look sick. I do know that 24 hours is a long time in politics and it's also a long time in health.
Now, Philip, we also know something that we are aware of, that from the southwest of this country, a lot of other politicians in all the parties are now being the one used as instrument to destroy or cause chaos in other political parties. Are we taking this thing to a tribal level at the moment?
Certainly, that's what is playing out. Like you said, it's obvious in every, especially the case of SDP in hand. All the so-called, National Working Committee that are involved in the suspension of the national chairman, they are from the southwest, for crying out loud. You see, what has happened in APC, we are related to Ganduje. So that's not the question you asked me, but I want to delve into it a little. It's clear that all is not well. The excuses they are giving. Let's take our mind back to Obasanjo days as the president of this country, and Adogbe was the national chairman of PDP. They had dinner together, and the next thing we had, Adogbe has resigned from his office.
What we know at the time was that it was on the dinner table that Obasanjo just told him, bring in your letter.
So a lot of story came up that the gun and what have you. So they may have told Shetima tear down head ground, but we know as a matter of fact he has been advised to resign or be disgraced out. He might not be on the public, domain, but that's what has happened because like I said, the Shetima we saw yesterday or to receive the governor of Akwa Ibom Ganduje, and the Ganduje we saw, I need to say sorry for my
that's
so it doesn't look like somebody who is sick, forget the acquisition of the FCT candidate. You're also aware that all the six council, they have all come to APC.
Yes.
So they
are finished their primary really.
So what is the SPC? So the truth that it remains that there's war within APC. It's like I said, it started so early because the truth is that when you set fire in another man's house, thinking that your own is safe, you don't know what other people are doing about your house. So that's what has happened. Like I said, people came from PDP. People you fought less than 2 years. You fought back to back. People died for the essence of your fight. That are now your best friend.
Look at it from this perspective. Atiku and Obasanjo, they ran together even before primaries. There was no way, we don't know whether Obasanjo would choose Atiku. There was nothing like that. During Yaradua, of course, there was a open this thing. I mean, after he became, he chose his vice president. But Yaradua, Jonathan and Namadi Sambo, there was nothing like that. They ran together before the primaries and they were taking it. The same thing with Buhari and Osibanjo. They didn't say, we don't know whether we take Osibanjo. But we also know that the stock in trade of the current president is not to use one.
He has never really been known to work closely with
VP.
With deputies. When he worked with Bucknor, he was quarreled and all that.
Bucknor said it on TV recently that the way he treated me, he said we were never close. So because we were senators during the
So, but putting that aside, just like you see politics, just like I quoted Harold made a statement, the 24 hours politics, which was a quote from Harold Wilson. The quote Harold Wilson made in Glasgow, 2nd of October 1964, that 24 hours is a long time in politics. Remember the other day, Delta North Senator Ned Nwoko was trying to convince their people that Anoma State is a done deal because Ganduje said it. Even why that was a fallacy, because Ganduje is not the one that created it.
He was lying
for a nation. He knew he was lying. But now Ganduje has said it and it's final. It's no more final. So you have now, if you put that into 2 years, a lot is going to happen. And the president, like you said, I said it the other day, when they said they endorsed the president, but that after APC has officially presented him as a candidate, then he can now choose his vice. I said, if he was running with Shetima, somebody he has been working with for 2 years, as they are endorsing Asiwaju, they will also be endorsing Shetima. When the APC officially unveils Asiwaju, that will be 2026 towards the end of the year. They will also officially unveil this. Like you said, why? Let me tell you, the qualification required to vie for office of a president is the same required to vie for office of a vice president. Because it's assumed that to avoid a lacuna or a vacuum in governance, two of them should be equally qualified. So any way you treat this one should be the same you treat this one. So, but again, like what you said, history is important. The president has not been known to function with the same deputy, but for loyalists and those that work under him, he's stable with that.
Okay, now let's leave the president. I want us to concentrate on the APC platform. A lot of here and there, it's like a house where you have different children. These are crying, these are crying, from Delta, from Delta now, we don't know who those who are in APC, we don't know those who are in PDP. But I can tell you and assure you very well that even those that were coerced to go into APC with the governor, some of them, their bodies in APC, their minds in PDP. Even, in fact, we didn't just, it's not like that in Akwa Ibom. In Akwa Ibom, they opposed and said, we are still in PDP. No, the government threatened them that my leg is still in PDP, I will destroy you there. But they vehemently resisted. Are we going to see that resistance at the national level after a period of time?
It's going to, replicate in all the states as more people become or defend to APC. You see, like you mentioned that, for instance, take for instance, Senator Omoye, the then DS of the Senate, single-handedly built the APC, produced 2 senators, House of Rep, and members of House of Assembly. He was a governorship candidate, believing that he has a second chance to run. Now you have brought somebody who is now the leader of the party, a sitting governor. Of course, he's going to be the candidate, as it were. So you don't expect the man to fold his hand and wash all that he has built for. So this example cut across all the states. In Akwa Ibom, there are people who ran for governor and other positions under APC who lose out, who hope that by this coming election and by their party remaining at the center, they will have a leeway of becoming what they have aspired to be. You are going to deprive all of that. Like he said, in the north, as it were, you are pushing Ganduje away, whatever excuse you are giving, you are pushing Shetima away. Erufai had left, Baba Ahmed had left, and many others. This will also give room for them to go and group and settle in with the coalition to ensure that if you are depriving me from getting my food, I will also want to deprive you. It's life. So this shows clearly that if the APC let them cause confusion in all the parties using their tribal methods, whatever that is happening in the house of the seeking will also happen in the house of the goat one day.
What do you think the president should do?
Well, what I would think that he should do, he would never do it. Face governance. Forget about 2027.
But
That's what I think.
No, today now I don't believe you. You always believe in miracle for the people.
Yeah, but that's when you face governance. That's when you face governance.
You will not do it.
Yeah, that's when you face governance. There will be miracle. The president should face governance. Let me tell you, see, all this time you spend being happy that the opposition is in the Senate, you forget to put your house in order. It is, you see, we are limited in capacity. A day is only 24 hours. There's so much any human being can do.
You're not meant to do everything.
You're not meant to do everything. Focus on governance. Forget about what's going to happen in 2027. Forget about re-election. Who needs 2 tenors to perform? Nobody needs 2 tenors to perform. Anybody that all you need to perform is 2 years has not performed. Face governance. Leave whatever that's going to be. If you, by now, like you have always said, that it's not up to 2 years. If towards end of 2026 you think you should run, there's nothing a president of this country cannot put together
in 5 months.
5 months is even too much. Because he has all the power. There's nothing a president of this country can put together in 1 month. There's nothing. First governance. Let what goes. Let what comes and see what remains.
We've not seen any defection of any kind, though rumored in the north.
Exactly.
And now, like I told you, I heard it. The man said 3 governors from the north are sponsoring the opposition. I'm not talking about that's the coalition. I'm not talking about a PDP governor, APC governor. And does it look as if the cloud is gathering so much?
You said it that we have done it on this table that the north is what is the topic again? Gathering the self. To ensure that this man is out of power. I take you to the story of the Bible because of what he said. That, there's a king who went to fight war. Remember? And in the Bible, he busy fighting the war when he heard the noise that there's war back home, which means there was no peace at home. By the time he gets home, he was destroyed and all of that. And
that was David.
Yeah,
You carried his family and
everybody left. That's how they lost the battle. So that is what the APCs are doing. The APC, they are busy getting people to defend, especially from the South, which I don't know where they get the belief for that. If they have all the South in their kit, it means they've won election 2027. When you know that, the North is far above that. Like somebody said, when the people said he's going to give the president 2.5 million foods, the person, one of our colleagues said, yes, it's not just saying, that might be their plan, that they've done their calculation, that if the South governors, enact foods for all of them, he might be able to counter the North. We see when you are planning to shoot other people, you don't know what plan those people are having. If you are planning to enact vote for yourself, also know that those people have capability to enact vote for themselves. So if you are planning for 6 states and they're having 90 states, where are you? I think, like he said, I want to add my voice to the president to face governance so that his performance will be what the people will use to judge him, to either to reconsider him or not to consider. But if he concentrate on this, if he follow this route, well, I pray that he doesn't lead this country into war because we are not heading anywhere. If there's implosion in APC, all the party they are in desire and all of that, where is the democracy we said we are practicing?
Now, we've seen a lot of good governance in Enugu State. Though the governor of Enugu was adjured not to have won the election by statistics way. But he's there now. We have seen, if somebody told me come to Enugu and see the explosion of development and cohesion and progressive.
Even as Waju went and preached.
Yes, that's the first state he went to. Now, not only Enugu State, go to Abia State. Of course, we know the governor of Abia State won his election. But not only did he win the election, now, any party he runs for, I think he will win Abia State again and again and again. Because why? He has brought government.
And the second tenure has not come.
Has not come. And he has not activated it.
And he's still working.
And he's still working. Do you understand? At a point, probably maybe he was distracted with Labour Party. But they won't left Labour Party. Is anybody still talking about Labour Party now? I know we're constantly on this table for quite a number of time talking about
Labour Party. Even Labour Party has accepted their crisis. Everywhere is peaceful with the crisis.
The crisis. The president of Nigeria was really that don't give you electricity, don't vote pay back. Electricity we don't see. Water we don't see. Insecurity is still pervading everywhere. Now, like Okafor said, he should focus on governance and leave the policy. Do you think he will leave it?
Well, you can't predict a man because 2 weeks ago, Peter Obi said he should stop touring foreign countries. He should concentrate on the 36 states. That if he can spend 2 days in each state, that would be 72 days, and that would be enough for him to have a better understanding of the nation. And we re-echo it. And the next 2 weeks, he started visiting states. So you never say never.
Yeah. Okay, for your parting words.
Yeah, well, just like I said, if I am the president at this time, I'm going to be very watchful because the North is very stable in what they are doing. They are very, very stable. You are not seeing any governor decamping.
Exactly. They are very stable.
Are doing. You know, they are very, very stable. So be careful how you handle northern interest at this time if really you want re-election. Mind you, I've always said election is different from re-election. People, as gullible as they might be, during election they could listen to your promises, but re-election, it is only your works that will speak for you. You can't gag anybody. If he didn't do, he didn't do.
That's right.
Before you go, you can't say they are not the campaign or rather defecting in the north, because we had 3 senators from the Kebbi defect to APC, and there are packets of House of Rep and all over here and there. So they're still campaigning in the north. So
I said no.
I agree with you. So I'm saying that they're still defecting. So it starts from somewhere. It started with the House of Rep, and before he gradually.
No governor in the north has
So the president will continue with what he's doing.
And even governor, it's just like what's his name, El-Rufai at the time. Says Sani, Senator Sani, what's his name again?
Oba?
No.
Sheikh Sani
will not return back to Senate.
Okay.
He didn't return back.
That's
So if a governor doesn't defect to another party, you as the senior senator go and defect. Your seat is gone.
That's why I told Tinubu not to mind Kafo. He should continue with what he's doing. People are defending at the right side, they will defend to APC.
Tinubu, you are seeing the hand of Esau and the leg of Jacob. Don't mind to listen to what
because I want good performance to start.
That's the miracle you have been praying. All right, we'll be watching how the story unfolds. I'm sure by tomorrow we'll have a lot of things to tell you about this defection.
It's gonna be fun.
Of the APC national chairman.
Bam.
At a particular point, it looked as if a lot of people were defecting from NNPP in Kano to APC. But now the reverse is the case.
Yep.
God knows. Even if the party chairman that was in APC before will defect to NNPP. But we'll be right here telling you how it comes forth. Still news inside. We'll be right back.
Thank you. Ew. Thank you. Look, I go back. I got another one I want to play for now before I call him a day. Okay, I go speak
Welcome
this
back
one
to
up.
Legitimate Targets, everybody. I hope you're all having a great day. Joining me on today's episode is David Hundayan. He is a Nigerian investigative journalist. He's an author. You can find his books online. He's the author of Breaking Point, A Journalist's Quest for Salvation in Nigeria's Chaos. And Chaos it is. And he's also the author of The Jungle. He's the founder of West Africa Weekly. And he is known for his fearless pro-sovereignty reporting on politics, corruption, social issues, and specifically as they relate and manifest in Nigeria. So, David, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
I'm great. And you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy that we're sitting down. We were just talking before we got into this. I encourage everyone to follow David on Twitter, huge account, and putting out a lot of really, really great information right now, not just about Nigeria, but Africa as a whole. I think we should start off with, like I said, before, just how important is Nigeria to the broader vision of African sovereignty? You can tie in Pan-Africanism into that question as well. And I think this is something that maybe, I'll learn a lot hearing from you on as well, because I was very oblivious to what was going on when the Sahel states began to form their confederation and they were being threatened by Nigeria. I said, who is this Tinubu guy? Well, let's just start off with Nigeria and the importance in Africa as a whole.
So, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work out the fact that Nigeria is hugely important in Africa. First of all, starting from its population, something like 1 out of every 6 or 1 out of every 7 Africans statistically is a Nigerian. And that doesn't take into account the massive Nigerian diaspora that exists outside of Africa. It also has the largest African diaspora in the world.
Let me know if it's too
both
fast
recent
for you
and
guys.
ancient diaspora. So if you go to places like, so obviously there's a recent diaspora in the US and parts of Europe, but also if you go to places in South America like Brazil and Cuba, there are large sort of black populations there that trace their origins back to Nigeria, and many of them actually actively identify with existing Nigerian cultures. So there's that. And then economically,
okay,
maybe not so much now, especially over the past 10 years, where there's been this huge massive wealth destruction event that has been taking place in Nigeria. But prior to that, anyway,
is it better now? Let me know.
Fulcrum point of the African economy. So basically, when Nigeria was doing well, Africa was doing well. That's pretty much how it worked out. This was a pattern that you could draw back maybe as far back as the 60s. So Nigeria gained its
Welcome, Daniel. Thank you.
And between the sort of early 70s toward like the mid 80s, Nigeria was, well, I don't want to oversell it by saying it was responsible, but Nigeria played a huge part in the independence that many other African countries were able to gain, because Nigeria was a huge supporter of independence movements across Africa. So in places like Zimbabwe, in South Africa, in Namibia, in Angola, Mozambique, Nigeria was actively engaged in all of these spaces, providing funding, support both over and under the table. So for many years, it was thought to be not just this African.
Guys, please continue to like the show.
The African economy that was most likely to achieve industrialization first.
Subscribe.
That's what it was thought. In fact, I recall, I wasn't there, but sometime in the 1970s, a study was done showing that at the current trajectory that Nigeria had at that time, bear in mind this was in the middle of the so-called oil boom at the time, there was a study done showing that at that current trajectory, Nigeria was projected to have achieved industrialized status sometime in 1986. But that didn't happen because basically where there was a crossroads, you could go left or you could go right. Nigeria went left, and it's been going left ever since. Long story short, Nigeria got from being a net aid contributor, Nigeria became a net aid recipient. This all happened between the mid to late 70s, just when the oil boom was winding down as well. There was part of it was like a perfect storm of, I guess, bad luck, but also part of it was due to the usual story of an African government getting captured by foreign interests and then making decisions that just were not in the interests of its people. So this was a country that did not need to get itself tied up in any sort of debt trap diplomacy, but that's exactly what happened. And by 1986, Nigeria was placed into something called the Structural Adjustment Program by the IMF. I'm sure I don't need to explain what that is and the kind of effect that it has to you, because I'm sure you've witnessed up close the effects of the structural adjustment policy in many places around the world, specifically in Latin America and Africa. Nigeria got a very, very, very rude shock, because this was a country that by every metric was prospering. Just to put it in context, as recently as I believe of 1983, 1984, the Nigerian naira had currency parity with the US dollar. It was roughly 1 to 1. Currently, as we speak, it's roughly 1,500 to 1. So you could say between 1983 and now, the value of Nigerian currency has absolutely tumbled off a cliff, and it's never gotten better. As usual, as is the case whenever there's a structural adjustment program, this was done under the guise of state-run enterprises are inefficient, they need to be privatized, the economy needs to be run more efficiently, the state is not good at doing this, which was a very successfully sold argument, and one that even people like myself who were born after this event, we still bought into that argument until relatively recently. So basically everything that wasn't bolted down to the floor was privatized in some way, shape, or form.
Welcome, Peter Chimezie.
Very few, large, very and hugely corrupt and inefficient public monopolies, which are also pseudo-privatized in a way. And that's been the story of Nigeria ever since. So from being a sort of African budding success story, which had this huge outsized impact on the rest of the continent, and which was actually it was so influential at a point that even outside of Africa, it was providing aid to countries in the Caribbean. That's how influential it once was. Nigeria was actually providing financial aid to countries in the Caribbean because it was just flush with cash. You can Google this, by the way. This was a comment made by a guy called Yakubu Gowon, who used to be Nigeria's head of state, military head of state in the 70s. And he made a comment to the effect of, Nigeria has no problem with money. The problem that Nigeria has is figuring out how to spend its money. So that gives you an idea, that gives you a window into the sort of mindset that animated the leadership of Nigeria at a time when it needed to make very important decisions. I'll tell you something else you may not know. Sometime around that period, there was something called the Cement Armada. And what that was, I believe the year was 1977, Nigeria bought a quarter of the world's total cement supply that year. So 1/4 of all cement manufactured in the world that year was was ordered by the Nigerian government, and there were apparently 400 ships filled with cement just waiting off the coast of Lagos, and like most of the loads went bad because there wasn't enough capacity in the port to actually offload these ships. So they were there for like I believe it was 8 months. So this became sarcastically known as the cement armada, right? And so that's just to give you an idea of the squandering of potential that happened in Nigeria. So that's how Nigeria went from where it was once upon a time to being where it is now.
And fast forward to 2023, you had these elections. How democratic would you say these are? Because I know that there's a lot of accusations and evidence as to what really went on in these elections, and it does beg the question, because if Nigeria is in this downward spiral, why would the Nigerian people elect someone who is we can talk more about him in a moment, but patently a U.S. asset and has a very, very scandalous record that precedes him, both as a governor in Nigeria and a more local official and representative political actor, and also in the United States, where he was found to have partaken in some very, very illegal activities with heroin.
Yeah, so again, this is part of the same story with the economic downfall of Nigeria, because those two, the economic downfall and the political downfall, were linked. They didn't happen in isolation. So if you're familiar with the doctrine of the economic hitman, which I guess once upon a time in my more naive years, I used to think of as some sort of conspiracy theory, until, it happened, in a very unignorable way. And, I was forced to acknowledge what I had, tried to ignore for all those years. That's basically what happened to Nigeria. A decision was made by whoever, but in the places where power actually resides on this planet. So those places, we know where those places are. DC, London, Brussels, Paris, the centers of global geopolitical power, basically Western geopolitical power. And Nigeria, again, being an African country that had made what I now think of as a strategic mistake, which was the mistake of refusing to align itself properly during the Cold War. So Nigeria was part of something called the non-aligned movement. And the reasoning behind the non-aligned movement was we face neither East nor West. We're independent. We have our own independent foreign policy, which sounds great in practice, but in theory rather. But in practice, all that ends up making you is a target that's very easy to be picked off by more powerful players. And that's exactly what happened. So these usual suspects wormed their way into the Nigerian government. Then a military government, using their many tactics, they found their way into the center of the government. And so going from a time when Nigeria was led by actual nationalists, people who you could describe as nationalists, even to the point of almost being extremists. So people like General Murtala Mohammed, for example, who was actually who was assassinated in a failed coup. So going from that, in the space of about 10 years, Nigeria was then led by a guy called Ibrahim Babangida, who you might have heard of, who was, if you like, the Tinubu before the Tinubu that currently exists, because he was also an American asset. He was also very, very, very well known for having collaborated with the CIA, either officially or unofficially. So in the space of about 10 years, Nigeria had gone from being led by nationalists with this sort of sovereign vision for Nigeria becoming an African economic hegemon and superpower, to being led by a guy who was getting his instructions out of Virginia. And with that also came the other parts of the downfall, such as getting stuck in an IMF structural adjustment program, which was only, I guess, the reason it didn't end up being much worse than it was that sometime around that period, which was I believe 1990 or so, Saddam Hussein decided to invade Kuwait. And then that led to the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, which led to something called the Gulf War oil windfall for Nigeria, because that created a shock in the global oil market. And so Nigeria was able to escape, an even worse fate than it would have faced. But regardless, basically about 10 years of national growth were lost between 1989 and 1999. Supposedly after democracy, what we call democracy, returned in 1999, ironically, the supposed democratic president was a retired military general.
Guys, please like the show, subscribe, share.
Very friendly with the CIA. I wouldn't go as far as to call him a CIA asset, but he was definitely very friendly with the Americans. Because he had a reputation for playing the field. And he, I guess, did some of the right things. There was a huge economic economic recovery under him between 1999 and 2007. But at the point that he was to leave office in 2007, as is so often the case, succession is where, I guess, the problems that we have now started from, because he didn't appear to have a proper succession plan in place to sort of entrench the progress that had been made under him. So he ended up handing over to a guy called Umar Musa Yaradua, who was a decent guy, but he was sick. There's no other way to put it. He lasted for just under 3 years, and then he died in 2010. So power ended up going to his then vice president, a guy called Goodluck Jonathan, who then ended up completing his term, then ran for election again in 2011, and then finally, lost the next election in 2015. Now, that election that was lost in 2015 wasn't just an election. That was the first time, I didn't know what I was witnessing at the time, but that was the first time I witnessed an actual Western-led regime change operation in Nigeria. I didn't understand what I was looking at the time. I was like, I had a front row seat because not only was I in Nigeria at the time, I was actually working in the marketing industry at the time. So the agency I was working at actually had sister agencies that were directly involved in the campaign. So I saw things I had never seen before. I saw tactics I had never seen deployed before. And I remember thinking to myself, is this an electoral campaign or is this a civil war? What's going on here? I saw very deliberate attempts to create ethnic polarization in a way that I had never seen before. I saw deployment of fake news in a way I'd never seen before. Let me give you an example of this. So in 2012, which was a full 3 years before the election, there was a plane crash in Nigeria, the Dana Air Flight 992. I actually lost a friend in that plane crash. Now, within 30 minutes of the news going up that a plane has gone down in Lagos, right? I believe it was in McDonnell Douglas DC-9, I think it was. Within 30 minutes of the news going out, a viral message has started circulating. So this was before the days of WhatsApp. So then it was BlackBerry Messenger that was the in thing. There was a viral message that went around like wildfire claiming that the reason the plane crashed was because the president's wife was also flying at the time, and this plane was in distress, but the authorities at the airports wouldn't let this plane land because the president's wife wanted to land first. So they kept this plane in the air circling until the president's wife's plane landed first, and then it was too late for this aircraft, and then it went down. This, by the way, was completely fictitious. The president's wife was at home in Abuja minding her business. She wasn't even flying. But this powerful rumor, to date as we speak, this was 13 years ago, to date as we speak, there are a large number of people who still believe that that's why Dana Air Flight 992 went down. And I happen to know, when I happened to be working in the communications industry 3 years later, I then happened to run into the person who actually, was responsible for this rumor. And he was very proud of it as well. This was a thing that they used to, put in their case studies to their clients that, we do both, what's the term they use? Above the table and, above the line and below the line. So basically we do stuff that we're proud to show that we're doing openly, but we also dabble into the dark arts. And I didn't understand, why is it so important to win this election? Like, who died? Like, where is this desperation coming from? And then obviously, during this time, the then US President Barack Obama, if you recall, he recorded a video specifically for speaking directly to Nigerian voters, telling them, I believe he put this out the day before the election, and it was a video on Facebook which was directed at Nigerian voters specifically, and he said, I'm speaking to you directly, and said something about encouraging them to go out and vote for the next chapter, which is as good as saying, hey, go vote for the opposition. And this was the US president who, as you might imagine, was held in very high esteem at the time because he was thought of as the first black president in the US. He has an African background. He was almost kind of hero worshipped in these parts around then. And then the other context here is that this was around the time when there was a whole Bring Back Our Girls thing going on. And the US government, for reasons best known to itself, which I didn't understand at the time, had chosen to go all in on this. CNN had no other news to cover. The First Lady, the American First Lady, Michelle Obama, had a Bring Back Our Girls placard in the White House. You had P. Diddy doing a thing, Bring Back Our Girls. Like, what is going on? I didn't understand that what I was witnessing was a very, very well-coordinated US State Department and led regime change operation. It was many years later when I sort of came into some of the knowledge that I have now that it clicked that all this stuff I was witnessing wasn't a locally directed thing, and that it wasn't Nigerians who came up with these crazy ideas, all of which were just aimed at getting one person out of power at any and every cost whatsoever.
Welcome, D.
That these were actually instructions that came out of DC. And, when that finally dawned on me that this thing they call a color revolution or whatever, that this didn't just happen in Libya or in Ukraine, or this happened in Nigeria too. And you lived right through it. Then I guess that made me then want to know what exactly is so important about Nigeria. Like, I can understand why you might want to go after Libya. Those are countries you think of as important in a geopolitical context. But Nigeria is just people in West Africa don't generally tend to think of West Africa as a strategically important region of the world. We think we're just sort of insulated from everything and everyone, and we just want to sort of sip our coconuts by the seashore and have fun. But unfortunately, that's not how the world works. And it then became increasingly clear that the U.S. government has a vested interest in in Nigeria remaining a certain way. The economic growth and advancement of Nigeria is not something that the U.S. government sees as something desirable. The preservation of Nigeria as a country, like many other African countries, as a country that primarily exports raw, unprocessed materials and imports everything else that it uses, that status quo is very much desirable to the U.S. government. And also that there are a lot of supposed civil society organizations and NGOs and CSOs and CLOs that are very active in the Nigerian and West African space, which ultimately receive their funding in some way, shape, or form from the US government. So be it directly through the State Department or National Endowment for Democracy, or indirectly through the many affiliates of these organizations, such as the Open Society Foundations, the Ford Foundation, Gates Foundation, MacArthur Foundation, and the Omidian Network, and all these like CIA affiliates, basically. And
guys, please like the show,
like,
share, subscribe.
Nigeria is not anywhere close to as sovereign or independent or in control of its own affairs as we imagined that it was. That there's this huge behemoth of foreign influence which has its fingers intertwined at every level of Nigerian public affairs that we are not even aware of. I guess when this became especially obvious to me was when this was I had actually left Nigeria by this time. This was a couple of years ago. I think it was 2023, and there was to be a public hearing about it was something to do with the regulatory framework for GMOs, for introducing GMOs to Nigeria, right? And there was supposed to be a public hearing about it at the National Assembly. And on the day of the hearing, it turned out that the majority of the people who were actually present at the hearing weren't even Nigerians, right? Bear in mind, this was, even though it was supposed to be a public hearing, most members of the public had never heard about it. It wasn't advertised. You had to sort of be in the know to even know that this was happening. And then, my associate who showed up on the day sent me a picture, I can't forget, and maybe like 60% of the audience, there's a bunch of white faces. And it's like, who is so interested in what Nigerian farmers should or should not grow on their land? Why is this so important to foreign interests that you have like a whole auditorium here for this public hearing, and like most of them aren't even Nigerians? What's going on here? And you see that picture duplicated multiple times across so many parts of Nigerian public life. You see that happen every time, for example, there's a new bill that is to be debated or introduced or whatever, and you realize that the people who drafted the bill weren't even Nigerians. That happens a lot. So it's some NGO, and then you find out this NGO is funded by the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, or USAID or something. And it's just like that. You have foreign entities writing your laws. You have foreign entities funding some of your institutions. So there's an institution in Nigeria called the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. It's basically if you grow food or if you do anything relating to agriculture in West Africa, that's like a premier institution, right? And this institution, as I got to find out quite recently, most of its operations are funded by the Gates Foundation. This is a government institution, right? It was founded by an act of parliament, but it's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And to me, it's very obvious that there's a clear conflict of interest there, because if this institute exists to determine what Nigerian farmers should or should not, what practices they should or should not adopt, and it's being funded by a private entity which has 500,000 shares in Monsanto, or Syngenta, whatever the hell it's called nowadays, then, clearly there's a mismatch in motive, because this institution exists supposedly to protect consumers in this part of the world, and this institution exists to make profit. And those two incentives do not necessarily align at all. And yet this institution, which exists to hunt for profit, is funding the consumer protection institution. So that can only mean that Nigerian consumers are going to get shafted, and that's already starting to happen. So I guess it's been quite a journey realizing, especially over the past 5 years, which was when I think a lot of this really sort of humbling realization started coming up. Realizing that the independent country you thought you grew up in, and the sovereignty you thought you have, the fact that you have a flag and a national anthem, and you have 2 houses of parliament, and you have 36 state governments, and you have all this paraphernalia of states and supposed democracy, doesn't actually mean anything, because an extraneous entity by 1 or 2 degrees of separation is in control of everything. So basically, you're not sovereign, and that's been a really hard pill to swallow.
Moving forward into 2027, I believe in February is supposed to be the next elections for Nigeria. And there's a lot at stake here, with the Sahel Confederation taking off, and they're trying to get their feet, and other countries, I'm sure, would like to duplicate that fight for sovereignty. Having control over Nigeria is a very big issue for the United States right now, especially. So what do you think are going to be the most important steps that have to be taken to ensure that fair elections can be held in Nigeria, that Nigeria can have a chance at moving towards sovereignty? And also, I found it interesting. I saw you wrote about what you dubbed the contradiction between ivory tower Pan-Africanism versus a Pan-Africanism of strategic survival. How does this all factor in moving forward for the vision of Nigerian sovereignty?
Okay, so there are two, I guess the answer is going to be divided into two. So the first is the local answer. So ultimately, regardless of whatever geopolitical interest exists, the ultimate decision as to what happens to Nigeria will always depend on Nigerians themselves. Because ultimately, there's 200 million people. There's only so many guns. There's only so many bullets. You can't really kill 200 million people. It's not physically possible. So regardless of whatever intimidation or, whatever tactics might be deployed to sort of, force an outcome, if the Nigerian people decide, as the people of Burkina Faso decided in 2014, that they've had enough, there aren't enough soldiers, there aren't enough guns, there aren't enough bullets, there aren't enough tanks to get rid of everybody. They just aren't. It's just logistically impossible. So, and I've tried to make this point even on social media of recent, where I try to avoid being seen as, openly inciting people, but I feel like this was something that needed to be said. I said, using the example of Ghana, which had its elections late last year, these elections which I followed very closely, because the script was kind of similar to that of Nigeria. So the person in power was very clearly a very US-aligned person. Out of respect for Ghana, I won't go as far as to call him a puppet, but it was very, very, very closely US-aligned in a way that put him at odds with his own neighbors, which I felt was just not very intelligent foreign policy. It's not great foreign policy to start basically spark a war on your border. That's generally not a good idea. But he was on the road to doing that. And then the Ghanaian people, from the polls that I felt on the streets, clearly they wanted a change. But what I feared would happen was, as it happens so often, and as it happened in 2023 in Nigeria, was that they'd vote, and then there might be one result, which is what the people said, and then by the time that result gets to the so-called collation center, then it would change. And then the Electoral Commission would make an announcement, which is completely at odds with what people actually chose. And then people would grumble a bit, but there's nothing they would really do. And they would go to court, and then the court would do what it always does and basically say, whatever. So that's what I feared might happen. But instead, what the Ghanaians did, which really impressed me, because I didn't think they had it in them. I didn't see any of this talk online or anything. They did the work offline. And when I say did the work, I mean, it wasn't just voting. After the vote, they actually went out and protected their votes very vigorously, up to and including using actual violence in some cases. That actually happened. I didn't think they had it in them, but they did that, and they did so on a nationwide scale in a way that suggested really, really good coordination. And why I was so impressed by it is that nobody talked about it on the internet. Nobody held Twitter spaces about it. There was no sense that this is coming. But on the day, it's like everyone had sort of connected with themselves in like closed user groups, and everybody knew what they were going to do, and everybody played their jobs excellently well. And what ended up happening was that even though the incumbents clearly didn't intend to lose the election, and they clearly didn't intend to leave power, but the security agencies were basically presented with a choice. That is, either we side with the ruling incumbency and potentially risk starting some sort of nationwide conflict, or we let the people have their way, and we're going to wake up and still have a country tomorrow, right? And ultimately, the security officials who make that decision, they're rational human beings as well. So the overwhelming verdict of the people made their decision easy. I feel like that wasn't done in Nigeria in 2023. In 2023, the other scenario I described, where the Electoral Commission makes an announcement, they made the announcement at 4 a.m. in the morning, by the way, to give you just some perspective of how absurd it was. And everyone just kind of went, okay, well, at least we tried. Well, let's go to court. And then went to court. I was actually involved in that legal process. And it dragged on. And in the end, every kind of absurd...
Oh, it's connection. It's connection. Guys, please like.
I can hear you now. Right. You said every kind of absurd...
Yeah, every kind of absurd precedent you can think of ended up coming out of that court process. So, for example, judgment that stated that the supposed president now, when the issue of his involvement in heroin trafficking was brought before the court said, well, it was his bank accounts that were found guilty of laundering proceeds of heroin trafficking. It wasn't him. It was his bank accounts. So he's free to go. Yeah, that's an actual judgment that came out of the appeal court of Nigeria. You can actually Google it. It's a thing, right? Or when his falsified academic records were brought before the court, that hey, this guy submitted academic records to the Electoral Commission under oath, and these records are falsified. They're fake. These certificates are fake. So he's committed perjury, and the court basically said, well, the evidence of the fakery wasn't presented to the lower court, so you can't introduce it now. It's too late to introduce it now. So on that technicality, that case was thrown out. Right, so, and then everyone went, okay, we tried, and then everybody went home, and here we are, dealing with 2.5 years of, some of the most disastrous leadership that I think we've had in a couple of decades. The president who, it's almost as if Nigeria has not been led by a president, Nigeria has been led by the IMF president, because every single recommendation, typically puppet presidents, maybe they implement 60 to 70% of the recommendations. This guy has implemented everything. So, the usual stuff they say, remove every subsidy, privatize this and that. It's this huge slash and burn operation, and he's done everything. So the year-on-year inflation rate, there's an economist, Steve Hank, who is calculated that Nigeria has 107% year-on-year inflation. That is insane. I'll give you another statistic. In the 2 years as the president, so as when he came into office, the naira was exchanging for about 500 naira to a dollar. It's about 1,500 now. That's in 2 years. So the devaluation has been devalued by a factor of 3, right? Bear in mind, this is still very much it's an import-dependent economy. So you can imagine the knock-on effect that has had on the cost of living for people. And then every kind of consumer subsidy, so energy subsidy, so for fuel, for electricity, everything has been taken out. So electricity has become almost like a luxury now. It's not as if this is a country which generates a lot of electricity to begin with. So it has roughly 12,000 megawatts of installed capacity for 200 million people, which is absurdly low. But now, even to get access to that electricity, you're going to be paying something for a monthly supply for like a one-bedroom apartment. You're going to be paying something like $150 monthly for your electricity bill in one of the poorest countries in the world. Right? So that's what has happened. So that's what I feared would happen, but that's what the Ghanaians made sure didn't happen. So what I said on social media was people need to be prepared to deploy strategic violence in 2027. What I meant by that is the ability not just to vote, but to ensure that what you voted for and the results that was announced actually tally with each other. That power rests with the people. You can't leave it to the authorities who are basically playing on the same team with those who are in power. Right, or who were even put in office by those who are in power. The people need to make their voices heard the way the people in Burkina Faso and in Niger and in Mali have done, and even in Ghana have done. That's the only way I think that in 2027, regardless of whatever geopolitical calculation might be going on, something will change. So that's the local answer. Now, the international answer, which ties into the other thing I was saying about pragmatic Pan-Africanism and the ivory tower thing, is that I think that a mistake that maybe the 60s to 70s generation of leadership in Africa made, specifically Nigeria made, was they didn't pick a side. Because knowing what I know now, I think that there were two sides available. There was the Western Bloc and there was the Eastern Bloc. I think that the so-called non-aligned movement, apart from being a cop-out, was a waste of everybody's time. Because basically, all those countries that were then part of that so-called non-aligned movement either ended up being absorbed into this sort of Western empire, and they end up being absorbed very much as junior partners. They're still at the foot to date. Or they ended up naturally gravitating toward the Eastern Bloc anyway, such as Vietnam. So what was the point? It just wasted 30 or 40 years of your development as far as I'm concerned. And I think Nigeria made that mistake. I think Nigeria, I wouldn't go as far as to say that it should have necessarily organized its entire economy along, Marxist-Leninist lines. I'm not so sure how that would have worked in the Nigerian context. But I think geopolitically, Nigeria should have very much sided with the Eastern Bloc at that time. I think that was the only game in town. Nigeria did not do that. Because again, this very sort of idealistic ivory tower thinking, we're not trying to replace one colonizer with another. We've had 400 years of enslavement to this one. How do we know the Russians are any different? Yada, yada. All of which is true, and all of which sounds, I grew up hearing these sentiments. But the reality, and I think history has given its verdict, that the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc were diametrically opposed to each other. They were not the same. They've never been the same. And the outcomes are clear. So China, for example, which is now the world's largest economy, as many are starting to acknowledge. China got its, if you like, its technical and technological starter kit from the USSR. Right? There was a vast amount of technology transfer that took place in the 50s, which I think is a story that is not acknowledged anymore. But without that technical transfer, China wouldn't be where it is today. And that happened because China picked a side, right? But the Nigerian government didn't pick a side. The Nigerian government thought it could do what the Indian government tried to do. And Nigeria and India are in a similar situation now, which is neither here nor there. And basically the vast majority of the population is just poor and hopeless. So nobody has really benefited from it at the end of the day. So I think that instead of sort of being trapped in these ideological prisons that we've created for ourselves, I think the pragmatic thing to do, regardless of how some people feel about the fact that, well, if we don't want to be tethered to a colonizer, how is that different from Ibrahim Traore going to visit Putin in Moscow? You know, there's a lot of this sort of rhetoric flying around. Yeah. But I think that if you examine it pragmatically, there's a huge difference between the relationship between France and Burkina Faso in 2014 and the relationship between Burkina Faso and Russia or Burkina Faso and China in 2025. There's a world of difference, right? Because that relationship that once existed was a one-sided extractive relationship where only one side was getting anything out of it. So France was getting uranium and other things out of the Sahel, and the Sahel was the poorest place in the world, bar none, right? So Niger and Burkina Faso were always right at the bottom of the global economic rankings every year when the IMF used to release those numbers. The lowest GDPs in the world, it was always Burkina Faso and Niger. They were always switching places, but they were always like in the bottom 2 or 3 for all those years. Nothing changed for them. And then now they're partnering with these guys that some people are saying, oh, it's the new colonizer. Oh, China does dead trap diplomacy. Oh, you know, Russia they also have their own vested interests. You know, the Wagner Africa Corps. You know, a lot of these sound bites and rhetoric. But what are the results? You're seeing roads are getting built, new hospitals are getting built, residential complexes are going up, infrastructure is being built, people's lives are getting better. And then you're looking at the economic numbers from a strictly economic point of view, and you're seeing, countries like Niger are doing 10% year-on-year economic growth. 10%. That's unthinkable. The last time Nigeria had numbers like that, I think in 2015, Nigeria was the third fastest growing economy in the world prior to the regime change operation, and it was doing about 7%. And it, for some of us, that felt like El Dorado. So I can imagine what 10% would feel like. We haven't had those numbers since the oil boom, 40, 50 odd years ago. And that is happening as a result of that partnership with these guys that are supposed to be the same as the other people. So I don't think that ideological position makes any sense. No. So I think that just like the Sahelian states have picked a side, I think, even though it's going to be a big ask, given the current political state of Nigeria, I think whenever Nigeria manages to pull itself out of this puppet hole that it's in, where it's being led by someone who has maybe more than one puppet master, because as you may know, it's not just DC he answers to, he also answers to Paris. So whenever Nigeria manages to dig itself out of this hole, I think Nigeria needs to do the pragmatic thing and firmly pick a side. And for me, it's obvious what the only game in town is. It couldn't be more obvious to me, because even without picking a side, where any major development that has taken place in Nigeria over the past 10, 15 years that has made people's lives better, almost invariably, where has it come from? So in Lagos, for example, Lagos until very recently was the largest city in the world to not have a metro rail system of any kind. So basically you had 21 million people in a tiny city, and the only mode of transport was road until maybe 2-3 years ago. So you can imagine just how awful it was to live there. And that problem is being solved, or to an extent has already been solved, because I think there are 2 active rail lines now. I think altogether they're supposed to be 5. And who was responsible for making that happen? It was the Chinese government. Yep. Now the US government will certainly never fund that. They would never give you a loan to build infrastructure to grow your African economy and maybe become less import dependent on them. That would never happen. What they would fund is an NGO to do webinars and seminars and capacity building sessions and all that kind of stuff. And they pump millions of dollars into that as they do. Right? You get no benefit in your local economy, but then your real estate, for no reason whatsoever, would become stupidly priced, which is also happening in Nigeria, one of the poorest countries in the world. But the prices of real estate are comparable to prices of real estate in the US, which again makes absolutely no sense. That's what partnering with the US gets you. To me, to my mind, it's very obvious what the only game in town is. But unfortunately, there's a whole genre of sort of classic Pan-Africanists that doesn't want to hear any of this. They just think Pan-Africanism means that you're basically going to grow your technology, your infrastructure, your economy out of sort of rough potatoes and kimchi. And that's really not how it works.
Yeah. Well, I think it's becoming clearer each and every day. And obviously there's going to be problems. But that's the thing. It's like even looking, I think it was in Niger. Like, they had some disputes with some Chinese companies about how many Chinese workers were working in a gold mine versus workers from Niger. And they said, look, we had an agreement. You guys are not adhering to it. We need to negotiate now. And the Chinese were like, okay, fine, let's talk. That's even something like that. You'd never see that from the United States either. So there will be problems. But it's about just understanding that we live in a complex world and it's not perfect, but this might be the only option right now. And it's a damn good option compared to the alternative. So, David, there's a lot we didn't get to. So I hope to speak again with you again soon. And there's going to be a lot leading up to February of 2027. So thank you so much for joining me today. Where should people follow along with you online, and where can they check out your books if they'd like to purchase them?
Right, so on Twitter and Instagram, it's just my full name. So it's at David Handane. My books are available on Amazon. So my first book is called The Jungle. So just Google The Jungle, David Handane. It's on Amazon. If you're in Kenya, it's available at Noria Kenya. That's the popular bookshop in Nairobi, Noria Books. If you're in Nigeria, it's available at Roving Heights. If you're in India, it's available at Midland Bookshop. And the same goes for my second book, which is called Breaking Point. Now, that's, I believe, is like my magnum opus. It's the book I'm especially proud of. It's the longest book I've ever written as well, 596 pages. And it's available also on Amazon, Noria, Roving Heights, and Midland Bookshop.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining me. I learned
man,
a lot personally, and like I said again, I hope to speak again with you very soon about a whole host of other subjects.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. This is a good place to stop. Una see am now. Una see am. That is how it is done. We need to keep talking. I know that sometimes it can get tiring. D, I saw your comment. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm taking care of my mental health. I don't play with my mental health. I do not play. Let me repeat that again. I do not play with my mental health. I'm going to tell you guys for free. Coming out here and speaking and pointing out the issues that we have in the country is already solving my mental health problem. If I did not have any outlet, if I did not have anywhere to talk and pour out all these frustrations in my head about my country, trust me, I probably would have been a mess right now. But being able to come out here and just, all of us coming together and talking and expressing ourselves however way we can, to me, once this is done, I don't even think about it. I'm moving on to the next thing. I am moving on. And when I sleep well. You understand what I'm saying? And I know they joke with my exercises, and everything. And, my diet and all that. So anyway, just to let you know, yes, my mental health is intact. And unfortunately, we are in a place in Nigeria where we cannot pull our brakes. We cannot wait. We cannot push anything aside and say, oh, this can wait. Of course, there'll be moments where you just take, time off and all of that. When I need to, I do. I don't even take permission. You guys will not just see me. I don't announce. I will just go, disappear. 2 days, 1 day, depending on how long, sometimes a week even. And you guys won't hear from me. That's how I do my thing. You understand? So when you guys don't see me, just know that, okay, she's taking a break. She's doing her own thing, So Nigeria is very important to all of us. As all of us are here, that's the reason why we're all here. Because it's that important. Who else go fix the country? Who else is going to talk about it if not us? I mean, who else? Have you seen Americans talk about their country and the politics? Have you seen? There's no break. These people do not take a break. They are going in on their government. They are holding their reps accountable. They are calling. They are sending letters. I'm telling you, this Jackson Hinkle guy, you need to see him. This guy never take a break 1 day. This Jackson Hinkle guy, the one we just listened to now with Udenyi, he never takes a break. He's always tweeting, or he's either on TikTok, he's on Twitter, he's talking about the politics, what's going on in the world. I'm telling you, people, there's no time to sleep. Only Nigerians, now we're going to say, I bet Nigeria matter is over. Where is this? We not get where we want push and go. Who want to help us? Who? Until we get to a solution, until we start to see real-time solutions going on, we not get excuse, we not get reason to say we want to just Nigeria matter just time. If you know, people are behind trying to take your land away from you. they play weak for your front, but for your back, they play all these villages. When you see say that they march, military they march, they sack people. You see say now for play. Make una dey there, make we sit down, they look. This are like a community, when they don't go, they do all this. You go shock. By the time you get there, now people when you don't know, now you go there. So for me, that's my motivation. That's why I keep coming here. I kid you not. Because I feel like if we don't keep talking, Nigeria go just go like that. Okay, now as we talk, you just say don't be part of the talking and the harassment when Ganduje get, not be make and step down so. When I say na play, when everybody's talking, everybody, with wetin happen to Peter Obi, everybody is pissed and everything. There is no way. The universe only responds to your actions. It does not respond to your intent. It does not respond to, I wish somebody will just come from somewhere now and just help. I wish, like eagles will just fly now and just. The universe does not respond to that. The universe responds to the collective. You see how we're all talking about Nigeria, how to make it better, what we want, what is going on, angry at Bala Blue and the rest of. The universe is listening and is responding. It's going to respond. This Ganduje thing when it happen, so more is going to happen. More now wait. 2027 don't near finish now. More kuna wait. Una go see action. This is why energy, if we all speak in one tongue and we are saying we want a better Nigeria, Tinubu must go. He has to go. The universe will respond to your action. You not going to respond when you are sleeping. So that's why. That is my motivation. Because I want to see my country work. Because whether we like it or not, if your country is not working, it has a way of affecting you wherever you are. As far as say you be Nigerian, blood, they say, is thicker than water. It will speak. Wherever you are, you go, they feel am. So if Nigeria is okay, I don't have to be in Nigeria. I don't have to live in Nigeria. But as far as Nigeria is okay, my mind will be calm. Everything about me will be calm. Everything about us will be put together, well put together. Because we will have, like, there's a you feel something solid behind you. Because anytime you can pick up your bag, go home, take a break, and come back. You understand? Hey, Gawalele, welcome. Oh. Thank you, my brother, welcome. So that's where I'm coming from. Oh. Jackson Hinkle, yeah. I'm telling you, the guy know the rest. He know the rest. This guy when you see so. The guy don't take his own stand and he they follow. You they see Americans they play. Don't mess with any regular American citizen. Don't mess with them. They know they take their politics. Do you know what I came to realize? Politics literally determines whether you buy or you leave. That is how fundamental politics is. And this is where we are missing it as a people. Nothing else matters if your politics is messed up. Look at it. We're watching it in real time play out. We're watching it in real time play out. For me, never again. You see this politics? I will never be silent. As long as I have a voice, I will never be. Because this determines whether people live or alive. You understand? We cannot watch it because that is our lives being plundered away. And we just fold our hand and look. This Davido, then when you look so, the same thing. The same thing. The guy is not, they sleep. They deal with the All these types of people now they deal with it, they handle them, they go interviews, they educate. Sometimes you go come, you go no, please. Anybody wey never understand say politics dey affect im whole entire life, e dey determine your life, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. You know, I don't know what to say. Yeah, chick, I'm not interested in those that don't think that think that Tinubu must not. I'm not interested in them. They will pack and go with T-Pain. It's just that simple. Okay? So for those who think like that, they should keep it to themselves. Not interested. So guys, this is where I will leave it for now. I'll see you guys on my next one. Thank you all for joining. Michael D, Tracy of Life, I appreciate you all. And let's enjoy this victory. Ganduje has resigned. Let's celebrate it very well. Drink champagne. Yeah, he's been banned on several platforms because he keeps coming back. Yeah, you know they give up. The guy does not give up. He keeps coming back. They go push him, he go come back. They go push him, he go come back. They go push him, he go come back. You know they give up. That's what we need to do. Do you understand? That is what we need to do. You cannot give up. If you give up, now who give up lose. It's simple. You see, Peter B, people they say, oh, look at him. He's so, oh God, what kind of thing is this? Peter B will always say a new Nigeria is possible, in spite of everything in front of him. Do you know why he keeps saying it? It is what you tell the universe that you get. If you don't tell it, you're not going to get it. You will be folding your hand forever. It's simple. I know they listen to other YouTubers. I don't care what that they do. Now, the wetin me they do and the impact I they make in my own small corner, now I care about. So, now they sabi. Everybody get what that they do. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on my next one. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you all for joining. Bye.